Hi, welcome along to the Don Robbie channel. This is a first on here. We are doing an F1 watch along with my man Matt in the building.
Boss.
Yes.
It's about time we did this, isn't it?
It's about time. You guys will see the F1 show that we do here on the Don Robbie channel. It's a big race today. The race is in Mexico. And this is, you know, we all know what's been going on this season. It's the Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton show. And it's really coming down to the last few races, Matt.
Mate, I am nervous. We're talking after today, 4 races to go. Max has currently got a 12-point lead, but a lot of the chat has been about, you know, normally we'd feel comfortable. If you're a Mercedes fan and particularly a Lewis fan, you could say with the qualifying and the way that we're starting here, Bottas on pole, Lewis in second, Max and Perez are down in third and fourth. We shouldn't need to worry about it. But this particular track, Robbie, has got an 850 metre straight going into turn 1. Almost a kilometre where these cars are going to get well up into the 200 mile an hour zone before we start braking and coming into turn 1. Max Verstappen has got a very real chance of taking the lead of this Grand Prix by the time we get to turn 1.
Am I right in saying, and just to recap for everybody out there who didn't realise, in qualifying yesterday, it was the 2 Mercedes that came through, Bottas on pole position, Hamilton in second, Verstappen in third. Perez, of course, is his home Grand Prix in Mexico in 4th place. But am I right in saying that last year, it wasn't pole position that won this race?
Yeah, so not quite last year, because they're going to be in the comments, Robbie. They're going to say it wasn't on last year because of COVID. So last time in 2019, it's actually true that for the last 3 Mexican Grand Prix, the pole sitter has not even made the podium.
Wow.
So I'm feeling like Bollockless Bottas is going to fuck up today. It's already written in the stars.
I mean, he won the lot. He's been doing all right, hasn't he?
He's won his last Grand Prix. We talked about that last time. I think, for me, it really and truly is going to come down to, is Bottas feeling like a team player? Is he feeling like he wants to help Mercedes, who have kind of given him the elbow and got rid of him now? Or is he going to go selfish and say, nope, this is my race to win?
If I was him, I'd go selfish.
Would you?
Oh, they're getting rid of me, innit? I mean, I'll be like, yo, I'll win the race for myself.
But he's got an opportunity here to go out on what I would feel a bigger high. If he can be part of the reason why even the Lewis fans say at the end of the season, the turning point was Bottas's performance in Mexico helping Lewis, I think, and people are already going to be saying this Lewis fanboy's too much already. But for me, that's a bigger win for Bottas than actually securing another race win today.
Okay, going through some of the comments, big up to everybody who's joined us for this watch along. Really going to be really enjoying it. Stimson122 said they're going to miss the start. I think we did start a little bit late, but we are here for the start.
We're here.
They're just about to start now.
This is the formation lap.
This is the formation lap
exactly.
Where they go around. Why is it on a formation lap do they start moving the cars all around like that?
I mean, this is all about warming up the tyres. I actually loved an old Lee Evans skit that he did on this years and years ago, saying, imagine us doing that in public. They'd think you drink driving. But this is all now focus on by the time we get to the start, you need as warmer tyres as possible. You need as cooler brakes as possible, because quite literally, the difference between a warm tyre and a cold tyre is catastrophic when we come into the first braking zone. As we've already said, almost a kilometre down the first straight means these guys are going to be hitting the 200 mile an hour zone by the time we come to the first braking zone. With cold tyres, they're going to slide straight up, and as we saw that shitbag Lance Stroll in qualifying yesterday bin it straight into the wall, that was an issue of grip on his tyres and going into the dirty part of the track.
Right, so is that why then, before the race even starts, they have these little sort of things around the tyres to keep them warm?
Exactly right. They've literally got what some might have at home. I don't. I'm not from a bougie household. Some might have an electric blanket in the bed just to keep you nice and cozy. Those things are exactly that. They're designed just to keep the tyre that little bit cozier. Nobody's now putting on an ice cold tyre. We're years since we've seen that. We're now at least putting on something slightly warmed, but these things cool down really quickly. So yeah, warmth in the tyre is going to be really important. Before it happens then, we have to talk, lights out and away we go is probably the most excited we're going to get over the next 90 minutes. We're going to see all 20 cars charging down there. A lot of our people on Instagram have been predicting a collision as we come into turn 1. Robbie, what are you feeling? Because for me, and I know you're similar, as a Lewis fan, I'm nervous that if we see a collision, it could be season over as far as Lewis goes. He can't afford a DNF.
Yeah, he can't afford a collision. I think he'll avoid a collision at all costs. Max, he probably don't want a collision either. You know what I mean?
He doesn't, for sure.
He's got a great chance of winning this race. You know what I mean? Even like you said, even in that grid position. So
my big prediction, and I talked to somebody about this today, is you know what? If Max does happen to have a DNF today, I don't mind Lewis not winning the race. I'd rather see Checo win his home Grand Prix, but only if it means that Lewis can make up the points against Max today, because we're going to go into Brazil and it's going to be crazy there as well.
Okay, Carthy says, hi Robbie, today is my bro Nivian's birthday. He's a huge fan of you and Arsenal. Wish him a very happy birthday. Happy birthday going out to him.
Oh, come on, Nivian.
We are getting ready. We're about to go. Lights out.
Here comes Lance Stroll.
Lance Stroll right
holding
at the back.
up the group.
Right at the back. But we are about to go. Mr. EC Football says it's going to be turn 1 carnage, he says.
Yeah, now listen, his name is Evan. He correctly predicted the Max Lewis collision at Silverstone this year. Yeah. Shout out to you, Evan. You're a psycho, but we love you. Oh, here we go.
Right, here we go. Here comes the lights out. You're going to take us through it, Matt.
All right, and lights out, and away we go.
How they go.
And I'm nervous. Come on, Lewis. You've got to get off fast.
Oh,
it's
Bottas
a good start from Red Bull.
It's a good start by Bottas.
The Red Bulls have got that slipstream, though. Here comes Max and Perez, either side.
Oh,
this is crazy. 5 cars wide.
This is crazy.
Oh, my God. Max has taken the lead, or is it Perez?
He has.
Oh, and that's Lewis Hamilton. No, not Lewis.
Is that Hamilton that's gone off?
No, please, not Lewis.
Is that Hamilton or Bottas that's gone off? Someone's gone off. It looks like Lewis.
Oh,
and that is a disaster.
God.
That is a disaster. And is that Verstappen in the lead? I can't see which Red Bull it is in the lead there, but it has not started well, and the Red Bulls are away. Red Bull in 1 and 3, with Mercedes in second place.
This is a disaster from a Mercedes point of view there. They were in the driving seat 1 and 2, but we talked about the slipstream, and that's exactly what we saw there. We saw the Red Bulls being able to tuck
Tell us
inside.
about the slipstream again.
The slipstream just means that they can run briefly right behind another car with less wind resistance, which literally means the car is able to go 20, 30 miles an hour faster than the car in front. It's almost like having DRS, and there it is confirmed.
It was Bottas who went off.
It's Bottas.
Verstappen is in first place, Perez in third place. That is not good though for Lewis Hamilton. And there's a safety car out.
Oh, and it's
AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri has gone off the track.
It's our boy Yuki Tsunoda is out of this race.
Is out of the race.
And also for the British fans, Lando Norris has lost his front wing. He is going to have to come in and take a new pit. And we've got Mick Schumacher.
He's out as well.
We knew there'd be
carnage.
That
guy said it. He called it. He said carnage on the first.
He did, Evan. Crazy.
It is carnage. It is carnage.
Oh, wow. Max fans, if you're in the chat, and I know you are, how do I get rid of this here? Max. How are you feeling, Max fans? You've gone from third. You've taken first on the first corner, which is something we discussed before the race. This is now Max's to lose, Robbie.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now.
MTMCG says Bottas out. Well, he is out. He's leaving. or was he just saying that he's out of the race?
I think she's saying both, bless her. Get him out.
Oh my God.
Bottas could not go to Alfa Romeo quick enough for me. He had one job today, Robbie. Starting on pole position.
Is that he's coming back out there? He's coming back out of the pit.
The Red Bulls. Well, he's not going to help Lewis from last place.
Isnan says, oh, I lost the chat, sorry. Taylor says, Robbie, the biggest F1 casual, I swear. Listen, I love my F1. I'm maybe not as deep in it as you, Matt, but they're showing a replay of the start again.
Right, here we go. So you watch now. So Bottas is on the right-hand side of the screen as we see it, with Lewis on the left. Look at the slipstream from the two Red Bulls. They've almost gone single file. Rather than all trying to get an overtake, they're going, let's take the slipstream and let's spot the opportunity. And it's Max who's actually been the big winner here, gone all the way around the left-hand side, which is the long way round.
Bottas got clipped.
And is it with Norris?
Bottas got clipped as he went round.
He's been clipped by Lando Norris, who that is the remnants of the front wing of Lando Norris.
Here, you're going to see it again. They're showing it again. You see it there?
And
he gets clipped right there, there.
I have to say,
and one of those, someone cut the corner there as well.
We are going to hear people saying that actually Lando Norris is at fault there, but I think Bottas has actually turned in on him there. As much as it's his corner, you've got to be more aware in these situations. Look at that start from Max Verstappen.
Mr. C says, I told you, Matt.
Oh, come on now. We've been chatting all day with these guys.
Nell says it was Ricardo, not Norris. AM says Matt is the dictionary of F1.
Hey, I don't know about that, AM, but my guy, I'm with you.
And MTMMCG says it was Perez who cut Bottas out.
Oh, and actually now people are correcting us and just saying, that it's Danny Rick.
It is Ricardo.
Who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. So let's look at this. This is the start of the race leader, Valtteri Bottas, our man on pole position. Doesn't seem to have got too much wrong at this stage. It's difficult for him. He's what they call punching a hole in the dirty air. He's the man who has to go first. But look at the speed Max Verstappen carried from the toe that he got there, and that's Bottas out of it.
There he gets clipped. We can't hear the radio here, obviously, because we have to have the sound turned down. But I would imagine Bottas is not a happy guy with that.
He's not going to be at all.
He's going to be right at the end of the...
Can I say, though, for the championship's sake, thank God it's
Bottas
and not Lewis.
Bottas and not Lewis, from horrible, Ibrahima says, do you think Ayrton Senna is a top 5 F1 driver ever?
Oh, my goodness, without question. I think Ayrton Senna is possibly the only exception to the rule that it's all about the stats. So when we talk about, Lewis, for anyone who comes at me and says, Lewis Hamilton can't be considered one of the greatest, I just go, come on, guys, 7 world titles. The same for Schumacher, and I think Ayrton Senna's the only guy in that conversation who hasn't got 7 or 8 world titles, obviously because of his untimely death. But no doubt, and that comes from the drivers themselves. Absolutely everybody puts respect on his name.
You can see it was. That person who said it was going to be carnage on the first lap was 100% accurate. The safety car is still out.
Now the restart's going to be interesting because the same is true for the restart. You're now going to
try and catch him with a slipstream.
Yeah, so Max Verstappen has got a big responsibility here. So I don't know if you know about race restarts.
Isn't it that he can slow it down and speed it up whichever way you want?
know. How dare I say that the Don may not know about some of these things.
Man. I do watch my F1. What's the matter with these men?
So for those that aren't quite on it, so what we'll get is a 1-lap warning that they'll tell the race leader the safety car is coming in at the end of the lap. And you see that white line that's on our screen there? At that white line, the rules of a safety car no longer apply. What that means, though, is the race leader has a decision. Because the rules say nobody can overtake under safety car rules, if Max decides to slow right down, everybody's going to back off. And what you'll see Max do is possibly play a little game here where he might decide to take a head start and just fucking go for it early. If he does that and catches Lewis napping behind, he will automatically gain and there'll be no danger. But if Lewis can stay in the tailwind of Max Verstappen at this restart in the next, I imagine, lap or two, we could see him gain this huge slipstream all the way down the main straight.
You could always see Perez gain a slipstream.
Or we could see Perez coming through.
Lewis as well, couldn't you?
No doubt they're going to go single file down that main straight and we're going to see it all happening.
Neil says Lewis is definitely one of the best drivers ever, but Max is putting a lot of pressure on him. Max Verstappen has been absolutely superb this year, and you see him again there. Come from third on the grid, and he is leading, and he is some driver. Still, how old is he? Sort of 21, 22?
Max, I think 23, but I'm happy to be wrong on that. Maybe he is actually.
Right, the safety car's coming in on this lap.
So this is now what we've just been talking about. So the red Mercedes safety car is going to be coming in. It's all up to Max now. Does he want to go quickly and away he goes, or is he going to back up? My prediction is I think he's going to back up the pack, and then I think he's going to try and take a little head start. But this is nervy now. We can again see the tyres, because of the safety car.
Toto Wolff there looking nervous.
And the tyres are going to be a little bit cooler than they once were because the safety car isn't capable of going fast enough to keep the heat in the tyres. So nobody's going to be really confident about the grip going into these corners. I almost, something, I love and hate a restart. And there you go. Max is back in the pack up now.
Yeah, he's slowing it right down.
They're going 50 kilometres an hour.
Wow.
And here he goes now. He's gone early. He's gone early.
He had a bit of oversteer there.
He really did. Slipping and sliding.
But
nice
he's
and
away,
early.
he's away.
Perfect from Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
Lewis now not a major advantage. He's too far behind Max to gain anything from a slipstream there.
Where can he gain the DRS?
So the DRS is switched off when it comes to safety cars for another 3 laps. So once again, DRS will be activated probably around lap 8.
Right, so Max Verstappen in the lead, Lewis Hamilton in second, in third place Sergio Perez. Is it Pierre Gasly?
Yeah, now
in fourth place.
Where's he come from? Just slipped up into 4th place there.
Leclerc in 5th, and Sainz, the other Ferrari driver, in 6th place. So here they go. A bit of a procession now, the way it's sort of bunched up.
It really is, and I have to say, just from looking at the laps here, the big losers on the opening laps are the McLarens. Look at Norris and Ricciardo running last and almost 3rd last there. Hard luck for McLaren. They're going to have to just move on to another race. Forget this one and move on.
Well, you know, he caused the accident, didn't he? Already, you can see Verstappen starting to pull slightly away.
Absolutely.
If he wins this, it's done and dusted. We're nearly in it, literally.
A win today, even if Lewis finishes in second, as it stands, Max Verstappen takes a 19-point lead into Brazil, which is also a favoured Red Bull track.
By the way, explain that. Why is this track a favoured Red Bull track?
It is literally just about how the cars are built. So Red Bull famously do one thing very differently to Mercedes, which is paying off this year. They run what they call a high rake, which means that the bottom of the car, instead of being very flat for downforce like the Mercedes is, the Red Bull comes up a little bit at the back, which they believe gives them a little bit more downforce in the corners. Simply put, this is a really fast cornering lap, so for Red Bull, it's going to be a big one for them.
Right. You're hearing it from the dictionary himself.
I don't know about
Matt
that.
The dictionary, that's
going to
his name.
stick in it now.
Matt the F1 dictionary, as they said in the chat.
Madness.
Anthony Brown says Max. Big up to Tesserton. I hope I pronounced it right. He says, I love this show. Thank you very much for joining.
Big love, man.
Red Bull have got the faster car this year, says Amira.
Agreed with Amir there. Absolutely agreed with you 100%. It's
Lance Stroll there making a move.
Oh, evil Stroll Empire.
What's Stroll doing?
Dreadful.
That must have been the early part of the race. He's just gone straight off the track.
Yeah, no, I think that's just now. That's him trying to make up some ground from the back. But
now, when you go off the track
himself
like that, you've got to give back the driving position.
Absolutely. You cannot be seen to be gaining advantage from leaving the track.
Yeah.
And in fairness, he hasn't done. I think he's given it back already.
Joseph Joestar says Matt should do the commentary. This will be the last time you see him here. He'll be on Sky next.
Yeah, I wish.
You can see a gap opening up already.
Now, and I was just going to point out, 2.1 seconds from Max. He's gaining around 3/10 every lap that we've gone by since the safety car. It just shows you the sheer dominance of that car. And it was unusual, actually, from qualifying. We saw in practice, Max and even Perez won one as well. The Red Bulls were showing just usual dominance at this track. And it was a big upset in qualifying that Mercedes actually managed to get a 1-2. It looks like we're going back to truer form, because as this time accumulates here, you can see Sergio Perez is glued to the back of Lewis Hamilton. He's not giving up there. It's just gone up a little now, but he's only 1.8 behind Lewis in 3rd place.
Wow.
Really opening up nicely. Now, for the Ferrari fans, and I know there's a lot of them that watch with us, you've got to be pretty happy you're running 5 and 6 right now. Robbie, we don't get a lot of chance to chat about it on a Monday, but the battle for 3rd place has been one of the best we've seen again for a long time between McLaren and Ferrari. It was looking all McLaren at the start of the season, but fair play to Ferrari, big day for them. And I think if they can get Gasly out of the way as well, they're going to see that as a big result today.
Louis Ashton says, I just watched the F1 documentary on Netflix, which is brilliant, by the way. And he says, I've just realised the advantages Red Bull and Mercedes have on all the other cars.
Yeah, massive. To be honest with you. And this is the thing that they're trying to fix in our sport now. Coming in with rule changes in 2022 is all about bringing in that gap between the top 1, or as it's been this year, the top 2 teams, and saying, no, we want different people standing on the top step.
And we've seen that this
year. I do.
You think it's going to happen next year?
I think...
Because you think about it, like Mercedes, Red Bull are so dominant.
They are.
Those sort of teams, in Ferrari, I mean, turkeys ain't going to vote for Christmas, are they?
You
know what I mean?
And I know what you're saying, and it's always difficult to imagine something that drastically different. No one could imagine that a Leicester City could come through and win the Premier League, and it happened. And I think what we've seen this year in Formula One, we've seen an Alpine win a race, we've seen a McLaren win a race, we've seen Charles Leclerc get 2 pole positions this season in a Ferrari. And that is in a time when supposedly the Red Bull and the Mercedes are leagues above everybody else. So, I don't know, I think there's hope for the sport. I think we're going into a really cool era where actually it really is going to become more about the talent of the drivers and less about the money spent on developing cars.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
That's what I hope.
They're showing some of the race, the battle for 9th place. Russell, Raikkonen and Alonso. Russell disadvantaged because obviously his car's not as quick as theirs.
Totally.
Mick Schumacher is out of the race, they're showing him as well.
And Max Verstappen has just gone fastest man on track. Now let's not forget that there is an extra point up for grabs for anybody who finishes the race with the fastest lap, so long as you're in the top 10. And believe me, Max and Lewis are not going to want to give that away to one of the guys lower down in the top 10 there. This is going to be...
looks like he's passed him, yes he has.
Come on, Kimi.
Kimi Raikkonen there getting past George Russell in the Williams.
I'm not ready to see Kimi Raikkonen go, you know, Robbie. What a legend he has been. Entertaining on circuit, off circuit.
I don't understand. Does he want to be driving a car that, you know, once upon a time you're there challenging every week to win the F1.
Totally.
And then you're like battling it out at the back of the grid.
I don't know though. So I happen to follow him and his missus on Instagram, and they've got this amazing little family setup. And I tell you what, they live in this stunning house out in the country in Finland. And then him, his kids, his family travel on a private jet all over the world all year long. They stay in the nice hotels. He goes and throws a car around a few days out of the week. It ain't a bad lifestyle.
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't say no.
Why
In
give
fact,
that up?
I'd happily drive that silly Haas that's got no hope in hell every week.
Trey says Matt is better than the announcers on the track.
Oh, I don't know about that.
He says, FFS, this guy is good at commentary. Listen, you're giving them the knowledge. Apex says, Robbie, have you heard the Super Max song?
No, but I bet our mate Kuhn from last time has.
Kuhn must be enjoying this, I'll tell you that. He must have gone, I told Matt, I told Robbie.
Do you know something he did as well? We were speaking just before qualifying, and he said, I tell you something now, whoever starts in 3rd place is going to have a good chance of winning this race. And I didn't want to believe it, not after Max got 3rd.
And it's happened, there's still...
Fernando Alonso constantly giving us midfield entertainment.
Yeah, that's
so
another guy should
back.
be in a better car though, shouldn't he?
Well, I think he's had his time in a better car, and I think he's here to go, you know what, I'm going to help develop this team of Alpine, I'm going to help bring them up a little bit. And actually, his knowledge, he's almost a bit like a player manager of what you'd see in football, that he's there telling him about the car. He's so well in tune with the car that he'll be able to say, we need more in this area, we need less in that area.
Well, George Russell, they're going wheel to wheel. Of course, next year he'll be driving the Mercedes.
Yes, I've got a question about that.
Bottas.
It came up yesterday. I'm going to repeat it in the chat here, right? For all of you watching along at home, here's the question. George Russell in the Mercedes next year, is he going to be a flop or is he going to smash it? And what we did yesterday is in the chat, put a blue cap if you think that's bullshit and you think he's going to be great, and put a flip-flop emoji if you think he's going to be a flop. Now, we did this yesterday. I'd be amazed to see, with a bit more of a wider audience, whether people really believe he's going to come through and do it in his first season.
Well, there's already a couple of flip-flops in there, and there's a couple of red
flops.
Blue ones.
Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, few people, saying he's going to smash it.
Ashley says Russell is not the man for Mercedes. Flop. I think he'll be all right, man. He's quick.
Oh, a lot of people saying flop, actually. This is why I wanted to throw it out today.
Flop, Esteban Ocon, clear.
Now, listen, Nax is my guy. He said one weekend in Hamilton's car and he was already better than Bottas. And let's not forget, not just better than Bottas, if Mercedes didn't screw him not once but twice in the pit lane, he'd have actually won the Sakir Grand Prix.
I'm going for him to be a success. I met him. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Cool guy, I met him and he was cool. He's going to be all right, trust me.
Let me ask you this then. What do you define as a flop? What does he have to do to be considered decent next year at Mercedes?
It's a hard one to call, isn't it? Because as you said, the cars are going to be modified next year, isn't it?
Absolutely.
it's hard one to tell. But
And you can't expect him to outdrive Lewis week in, week out.
no, it's how
'cause he's
close
great.
he can be to Lewis is what I look at.
Okay.
As you look at Bottas this season, he hasn't been even nowhere near Lewis, has he?
No, not really.
So to me, that's how I'm going to judge George Russell next season. How close? Because in his first season, he's not going to get nowhere near. Look at the experience of Lewis Hamilton, how long he's been driving.
Totally.
So he's not going to get anywhere near to him, you know. Look at the weekend attendance there at that Grand Prix.
Good. I would love to go to the Mexican.
372,000 people.
I would
Wow.
love to be in that little stadium section. I heard an interesting stat about it. You know that stadium section where it comes through? Do you know that was a baseball stadium and they just tarmacked all the way through it?
Oh, wow.
So cool.
By the way, will George Russell be a success at Mercedes? We've got a poll going at the moment.
Oh, come on now.
76% of you say yes, 25% say no.
Oh, interesting. So, yeah, it is as much as a quarter of you. I think for me, the thing is, I believe that George Russell is going to win Grand Prix next year. Somebody threw out and said, I don't think he'll win a Grand Prix if Lewis and Max are still in the race. In other words, a bit like Perez this year, he has won in the Red Bull, but only in races where the other cars have actually managed to come away.
Yeah.
I think he's capable, not week in, week out, but I think he's capable of winning a Grand Prix with those guys still on the track.
The thing is, though, now this is the grey area we're going to go into, and let's just recap everybody. Verstappen still leading the race, Hamilton in second place, Perez in third, Gasly fourth, Leclerc fifth, and Sainz in sixth, and that's 13 laps of the 71 gone so far. Remember, we had a safety car at the start of the race. There was a big accident.
Now this gap is opening up. We're at nearly 4 seconds between Max and Lewis. Max is not letting up here. He's not trying to save tyres. He's saying, nope, it's time to go, build a gap.
Yeah, and Dale says, what's your guys' favourite track? Mexico for me.
Oh, nice. I do like Mexico. I've always told people my favourite track is Monza, and I'm jealous as hell that you've gone and stood in the pit lane and had the whole experience.
That's why I'm going Monza.
But do you know something? As it happened again this year, it's always a great race. I love Baku. Azerbaijan. Amazing, like, historical city. It's a blend of a city track and then a big circuit.
City.
Have you really?
I've been to Baku, yeah.
Don't tell me you stood in a garage for the race as well.
Not stood in no, stood in a stadium and see us get beat by bloody Chelsea.
Oh, fair.
I have been there.
Yeah, wow.
I have been to Baku. It is a beautiful city, you are right.
Yeah, and I tell you, the Grand Prix there is
I'd like to go to
always
Singapore.
packed.
Singapore I'd like to go to.
Oh, under the lights.
Oh,
yeah, that would
beautiful.
be a good one.
And I've been there, and I've seen, or Monaco, it's got to be Monaco, isn't it?
Monaco is
But you'd
a
have to be on a
spectacle, but it is a dog shit race every year.
Yeah,
Monaco's all about qualifying.
Yeah, because it's all just one-sided, isn't it?
It is. Unfortunately, there's no overtaking, unless you get a really wet Monaco, which would ruin it, and you and your missus' fancy dress in hospitality there.
Now, what I was going to say, you know what, before those guys kind of jumped to a lot of super chats, what I was going to say to you is you're talking about George Russell, how can he push him, Perez, can he... Let's be real right now. If George Russell is ahead...
We've started pit stops, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
It's only a Haas, nothing to be concerned about, but they're going to be the guinea pigs for us.
Hamilton's complaining, saying that his tyres are starting to drop off massively. So that's a problem for him. If George Russell is starting, they're just going to tell him slow down there, let Lewis through. He's the main man.
I don't know, I think
Come on,
what we could
all
end
know.
up here is a situation with back when Max Verstappen made his debut, Barcelona 2016 for Red Bull. Danny Rick was the top dog. They brought in this kid to just sort of, let's see what he can do. And because he was getting results, because he won that debut race, Danny Rick ultimately ended up being phased out, and it's the end of your career, pal. Off you go. This kid's the future, and look at what Max has done since. I think Toto is sharp enough to look and say, no, we need to nurture George. We need him getting results. We want him confident. Lewis is only going to do another year, and he's retired anyway.
This season, if a race is like Max Verstappen, Perez is catching him up, they're going to tell him to slow down.
Big time. I think even here, if Perez somehow ended up in the lead of his home Grand Prix with Max in second place, I think even as much as it would mean to the Mexicans, I think Horner would ask Perez to pull aside and let Verstappen through. What do you
the
make
way-
of team orders?
Yeah.
It's not something that exists in the football world. Are you a fan of teams being able to augment the score a little bit and say, no, think of your team, pull aside? Or do you think they should always just be selfish?
I want them to race. I want them to be selfish.
Yeah, fair.
Raniak says Post Malone and Don Robbie.
You know, it's funny you say
You do look
that.
a bit like Post Malone. You know what I mean?
Before he got his haircut and stuff, I was in Japan in 2018 with a friend, and a load of people in Tokyo were on this night out, thought I was Post Malone. And so much so that when we turned up to a nightclub, they skipped the queue, put us straight in and put us on a table. Oh, it's Post Malone, it's Post Malone. I thought, well, I'm not going to fucking tell them out different. I'm going to go with this. So I've had a night out as Post Malone.
Oh dear.
Followed me around.
The other thing is about in this, right? Like, so, all right, let's get to this again.
Come on.
Right now, let's just say the AlphaTauri is gaining on Max Verstappen, which we all know the AlphaTauri
Yeah.
is sort of the sister team
It is, yeah.
to Red Bull. Or let's just say the Williams was gaining on the Mercedes, which we know they use the same engine,
Yeah.
Mercedes engine and that.
Yeah.
They're going to tell them, yeah, slow that down.
Yeah,
man.
we have seen it as well. We have seen it
that's
where we've
wrong,
asked them
isn't
to get out of the way almost.
That's wrong though, isn't it?
It is, because ultimately it's a little bit like the, I mean, I don't know what the equivalent is, the Arsenal reserves, the under-21s or whatever, and being asked, hang on a minute, if you ever want to play for Arsenal, you do as we tell you, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, but if they were playing, I don't know how.
Yeah, they'd never
equivalent
play
I could have.
alongside each other, I
What
guess.
equivalent I could put.
But I guess here-
I don't like that. I don't like the fact that,
And in comes George Russell,
George
by
Russell's
the way,
come
a
in
good...
and what a quick.
Annoyingly, your pint glass is right in the way of the pit stop time. That's a pain, isn't it? So we don't know exactly. You can tell us how long that took in the little pit window there. But it looked quick. I think it's sub 3 second for sure. And can we say, because this is all about timings here, Max Verstappen now 6.3 seconds ahead of Lewis.
Wow, he's
He is
miles
not
ahead.
letting up. He is going for
He's
it.
miles ahead. What he's trying to do is probably stop that undercut.
Oh, big
that
time.
we saw last week, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
right?
Yeah, exactly right. He's now looking at this and going, if I can build myself a healthy little cushion to Lewis, then, and in actual fact, Sergio Perez is only 1.8 behind Lewis. Red Bull are going to be able to push from behind and in front. So I think now we could end up seeing, but I'd love to know what you think in the chat. If I'm Red Bull, I'd go split strategy here. I would maybe bring Max Verstappen in sooner, and I would send Perez long, and either way, we're going to make sure that we cover off whatever Lewis Hamilton's going to try and do here.
Mr. Father says, good news to be a Ferrari fan at the moment. 2 McLarens outside the top 10, looking highly likely to be a lonely race. Forza Ferrari, he says, hashtag Forza Ferrari.
Yes, great
And,
time for Ferrari.
Sidant says, Marzipan is back where he belongs.
We don't talk about Marzipan every Do you remember the first time we did
Yeah.
a show with you back in March?
Yeah.
It was
Or
right
Marzipan.
around the first race.
I say Marzipan. Mate.
And Robbie came through and he said, right, we're all going to pick a team out, and that's going to be the team we followed. And the moment you picked out Haas is, I think, the moment that
Oh
game
my
died,
God.
isn't it?
Cloud says, come on, Lewis. So the pit stop was 26 seconds in total.
Okay.
So according to SDA09.
Oh, SDA09, he's in our chat. Welcome back,
And
man.
Chandra says, big up yourself, Dom, for bringing new sports into the watch along.
Yes, come on.
Right,
Love that.
at the moment it's not looking great for Lewis Hamilton, it's looking brilliant for Max Verstappen, it's looking brilliant for Red Bull 1 and 3 as it stands.
And you want to talk about the difference between Red Bull, Mercedes and the rest of the pack? Look at the time difference between Gasly and the rest. Gasly 17 seconds behind the race leader. He's a good, 9 or 10 seconds behind Perez in
How can
third
the car
place.
get so far ahead?
It's minuscule little differences every lap that all add up throughout time. It's crazy, isn't it?
17 seconds, which is like...
Oh, it's a year in
Yeah,
Formula
I mean,
1.
in Formula 1, he'll end up lapping them, won't he?
Well, we're talking now almost a full pit stop. It looks like from our mate SDA over there that it's around a 26-second stop here. So actually, we're not going to be too far away from the top 3 having a free pit stop on the entire rest of the grid.
Wow. Ricardo there in 11th, Bottas all the way down in 12th. Remember, he started on
Pole
the grid
position.
in pole position, got that little nick on the back of his car, got spun, and now look how far he is. But he's got the DRS on Ricardo. Can he pass him?
Danny
No,
Rick's
he
going to make
can't.
that
He's
car 3
defending it.
cars wide.
Ricardo defending it brilliantly at the moment, but he's still on the back of him there.
And
right up on his gearbox. Can he get past him? He doesn't look like it.
He's not close enough.
Doesn't look like it. Not close enough.
You know something as well, it really is not the track for McLaren cars, this one. So it is inevitable that the Mercedes is going to catch him. Again, just as we talk about how the cars are all built slightly differently, this is just not going to be McLaren's day today. They've done really well on the long straights, Monza, where Danny Rick won. They've done really well on a big straight with only a few corners. But yeah, this is all twisty and turny and bits happening. Robbie. Normally, we save this as a special occasion. We have what we call a will it moment here at Off Circuit, which we would drink in the post-race podcast, and it would be either a McLaren winning a Grand Prix, it would be a George Russell scoring a point, or it would be Marzipan doing a little spin and retiring out of the race. But we feel like, and we discussed this in some of our poll, we just feel like this is a big moment that we're here together. So I think it is a will it moment in itself, and I've brought this ridiculous-sized bottle of will it from back.
I remember when I first met you, you had one of those.
We had the small one. This is 2.5 bottles size. I've got us a little glass. Will you have a small little glass with us?
Right, a couple of glasses.
Here we go.
Oh, why not? Thank you very much.
The world's best bourbon, I reckon this is.
Listen, this is an example to all of you lot who come on in football watch-alongs. You bring me nothing. Nothing but grief, right? Look at that.
I don't mean to show you up, guys. I really don't. This is, for those of you who don't know, Post Malone comes with bourbon. I got you.
Oh, cheers, man.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Hey, to Don Robbie on F1. For
on
the
F1,
people.
loving it, loving it. That's very good. Oh, that is so smooth.
This is a tiny, I can't tell you how small this distillery is in Kentucky. I know it sounds like I'm endorsed by him. I'm absolutely not. I'm just a big fan. But yeah, Willet, it's called. You'll see it. A few people went and bought bottles afterwards. I need to talk to him and get a little sponsorship.
Yeah, you should do. It's brilliant. I'm going to have to get a bottle of this. I love it.
It's stunning, isn't it?
You soon all be drunk, says Kai Lundstrom.
Oh, you know something? Kai is all the way from Finland, big Bottas fan. Kai, I'm sorry about Bottas and everything that's happened, but I'm sort of sorry, not sorry, if you know what I mean.
And King Dre says, I like how passionate this guy is about F1.
Oh, big
100%.
Respect.
Love it. The
King
passion
Dre.
is coming through.
Come on. DJ Ash, he has been a day oneer with us. He's saying, big fan of you both. Big up. He's come from AFTV. Massive 3 points for us today, Robbie, he's saying.
Oh, man, what a massive.
You were happy with that today, weren't you? You came back with a little spring in your step.
I was buzzing, spring in my step. Ready to watch Lewis then. Because Lewis Hamilton's an Arsenal fan, you know that?
I did actually hear that. He's trained with your Summit before, hasn't he?
I think so,
I think he's kicked a ball with you guys, for sure.
So he's an Arsenal fan. So obviously always wanting to do well. But unfortunately, it's not looking great for him today. Verstappen is definitely... He's on fire today. Yeah. You got to hand it to Verstappen. Third on the grid.
Yeah.
Bang, straight into first place.
Do you know?
You saw him yesterday. I watched the qualifying and I noticed he didn't look worried about the fact that he didn't get pole.
Really, I thought the same. It was irritatingly confident, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know something with Max? For anybody who's out there and who's been worried about his driving style, overly aggressive, and they've talked about him being immature and causing crashes and this, that, and the other. He has become the full package when it comes to a Formula 1 driver. I think when he first come on
the scene, he was raw.
Oh, and he's had to learn on the job.
Into people, yeah, but
totally.
Now he's learnt a lot, and
he's got the right balance because too many of them don't take the chances when they need to do. And I just think, actually, and I know I don't give Max enough credit at times, he has become such a mature Formula 1 driver out there now, 7-point-something seconds in the lead.
Amazing. Stephen O says, now this is a decent guest. Expressions comes here, empty-handed and whines all the time. He says, ha ha ha. He says, keep him, Robbie, keep him. Yeah, you're right. What Expressions ever bring? Actually, he did bring me a WWE t-shirt one time.
Well, I tell you what as well, Expressions is down there with all the other 13-year-old girls watching wrestling this weekend. What's going on with that?
If you'd have seen his story, I was laughing, I was kidding. He was singing along to all the songs and all that. He loves it. He loves it.
Loves a day out on the ballet.
F1 podcast says, get Troops on. You know what? Troops actually loves F1.
Oh, yeah, really?
He's a proper Hamilton fan, man.
He's one of your boys Hamilton as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he loves
Great.
him. Hamilton kicked a ball with Henry on Sky.
Oh, there you go.
Yep,
that's what I saw.
He's a big Arsenal fan.
And Max has just taken a second out of Lewis in the last lap. 8.2 seconds now.
Jeez.
He is not messing around, Robbie.
I think those tyres of Lewis must be suffering.
This is going to come down to pit lane action today between Max and Lewis. I think the only way Lewis can do the business is clever pit strategy. And Robbie, Mercedes this year have not been great on their pit strategies.
Shrey says the pit stop mechanics are so impressive. In a fraction of a second, they can get a car ready. I've been lucky enough to be in the pits at Monza. I watched the Williams team practicing changing. I watched the Mercedes team practicing. I watched the Red Bull team practicing changing. It's unbelievable. Also, you'll see the race, but before the race starts, they practice a lot.
Like crazy,
They'll
right?
be practicing changing the tyres.
And it's very physical, isn't it?
Yeah,
the job, you know, those tyres aren't light.
Yeah, but it's unbelievable how quick they do it. And,
I've been, we've had on our podcast a former pit stop mechanic. He was on Rosberg's car 2012 for Mercedes around the time that Schumacher was there. And I asked him and said, I've never heard anyone say this before, but is it fair to say that the pit stop mechanics are athletes? And he laughed and he said, yeah, I'm telling you now, these guys are athletes. They've got personal trainers in there. They actually train specifically for their job. So if they're like a wheel gun guy, they do specific exercises to make sure that they're sort of toned in the right areas. It's crazy.
My friend who I told you works for Williams, he will be like, before the season starts, he's, by the way,
yeah, these guys are too fast for us, Lewis is saying on his team radio. So that's Lewis. It is a little bit of mind games from Lewis.
He does that a lot, doesn't he,
Yeah,
Lewis?
and it's him sort of saying, listen, don't expect too much from us today. No matter what I do, Max is still pulling away, and it's so true. 8.6, 8.7 seconds.
Unbelievable, and he's got Perez right up his arse as well, you know what I mean?
And if we could talk about any other season with Red Bull, you Lewis fans could have a little glimmer of hope that actually Red Bull will probably make a mistake in the pit lane and it'll all be over.
Or their reliability, but now the
Red Bull have been
faultless
brilliant in the pit lane this year.
They have been unbelievable. They've been absolutely unbelievable.
I tell you what, there's going to be a party in Mexico. If Checo's anywhere near that podium, there's going to be a party in Mexico. They'll be happy with third.
Yeah, going back to it, those guys who work in the pits, they are so fit. My mate, they had to do like pre-season training, all stuff like that. Have you ever seen that famous, there's a famous, remember when they used to put petrol into the...
Yes, the refueling.
The refueling. There's a very famous one where it caught fire.
Yeah.
I think it was on a Williams.
Yeah.
That was my mate. No, that was him who caught fire.
No way!
Yeah, that was him.
That's mad.
That was him.
I tell you what, if that was me, I'd have that blown up and hung in my house somewhere. Me on fire at a Grand Prix.
He laughs about it now, but I bet he weren't then.
We've had people asking us whether we'd like to see.
Team radio again saying, I can't pull away from him, so he's worried now about Sergio Perez behind him.
Absolutely.
He's pressuring him. Red Bull
fans rubbing their hands around the world. This is the perfect sandwich that they would have hoped for. That Lewis is being pushed from the back by Perez, and Max, meanwhile, is just massive lead now, almost 9 seconds.
Pull away from him, but he's pulling away from him a bit. But it looks like it there, but it's not, is it?
No. This is crazy, Robbie. Now, just checking in with the top 10, it looks like Lando Norris has managed to sneak into the top 10. No doubt helped by the fact that a couple of the guys, we know that Russell has already had his pit stop, and a few others.
Tamisho says, do you think that Lewis will try a one-stop again like in 2019?
I've absolutely no doubt in my mind Lewis has to be clever about pit stops today. He's not going to lead. Red Bull are going to go as long as they can to try and force Lewis to stop. I think what we're going to see is Lewis try and do whatever Max doesn't do. But it's all down. I mean, honestly, the shoe is completely on Max's foot right now. If he wants to come in and stop, he's totally free to do that and have fresher tyres.
Blue Monster says, do you think we'll ever see the Kia Mali Grand Prix again? Would love it to have F1 back here in South Africa.
Oh, I would absolutely love it. You know, we talked about this yesterday. It's been a minute since we've had any Grand Prix in Africa. It's been even longer since we've had any racers from Africa. You know, though, before Michael Schumacher, there was a 20-year wait for Ferrari to have a world champion before Michael Schumacher came through and did it. And that last Ferrari champion was, in fact, a South African driver. I'd be impressed if anybody in the chat knows the name of that South African driver. He is the only F1 world champion from the continent of Africa. Yeah, I honestly think it's crazy right now that so much of the racing is being focused in Europe. I know with COVID we did it all here. It's good to see that Vietnam is on the calendar again next year. Hopefully we'll get back into Singapore, China and doing Asia. America now, we're going to do Miami and Austin next year.
Miami,
and then
and
get this, there's rumours of Las Vegas coming on a year later. Should we do a pub crawl?
F1 Live, Vegas, yeah? Get ready.
Book the flights, we're in.
Jody, Henry Roth.
They've got it, Jody Scheckter.
Jody Scheckter.
Oh, these guys are on it.
Jody Scheckter, they're on it. Kustaff as well says Jody, Josiah, Jody Scheckter.
They're on it. Yeah. Love how many of them are on that. Well done, guys. We've got some F1 fans in the chat today.
We definitely got a load of F1 fans in the chat. 27 laps of the 71 gone, and it's looking like a Red Bull race at the moment. Verstappen leading, Hamilton in second, Perez breathing down Hamilton's neck in third.
Checo, let's close it up. Red Bull have just put the order into Checo Perez to say, now's the fucking time, baby. Get up inside Lewis Hamilton's business. This is going to be interesting.
They're really pressuring Lewis Hamilton, aren't they?
And I tell you something now, Checo's going to be there. He's got the world on his shoulders right now. The entire stadium are singing almost like football chants, which we don't see often, Checo's name. He really is going to want to do something special and see if he can put himself between Max and Lewis.
Look at it, Perez.
Look at that. Half a second quicker than Lewis over the last lap. He is really working to get past Lewis if he can.
So what's he been doing? Saving it then?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's an element of that.
Where they just said, just save it, don't go mad.
Yeah, well, basically before the race, they all come up with all the different scenarios of when they might take a pit stop, and then of course that can all change. So Perez's team will be looking at that and saying, okay, don't really try and use all of your tyre now trying to get past Lewis. Let's just keep him under pressure and make him sweat a little bit. That's them getting on the radio and saying, okay, fuck your tyres, get onto him, get past Lewis. And what that's going to do is if Lewis has to then defend from Perez, it's actually going to cause Lewis to spend more tyre wear as well. So this is all about mind games on Lewis Hamilton and trying to squeeze him. As we see him trying to... is this Bottas clearing?
That's Bottas and Ricciardo. He still can't get past him, still can't.
I think 7 laps have gone by of us still trying to watch Bottas get the job done.
Can't get past him. It must be so annoying for him.
We call him Bollockless Bottas for a reason at off-circuit. He's got nothing. That car is capable of great things, but not in the hands of Valtteri Bottas. I'd love to know what Lewis is saying on his team radio there.
He must be so annoyed,
I think he's going to be panicking right now.
Mark Fletcher says, I can see a Max and Perez 1 and 2 today. Me too as well. Vignesh says, F1 should go back to India. Can't forget Vettel doing donuts after becoming the world champion.
Absolutely right. Yeah, we had amazing races in India.
XXS Deadly Havoc XXXX says, do you like rally car driving as well?
For me, I haven't followed rally car driving with any keen eye since the days of Colin McRae.
Oh yeah, Colin McRae.
Which was a long way back.
He passed away though, didn't he?
Maybe you might be right. I had the Colin McRae rally games as a kid as well. And now and again, exactly. And now and again, I kind of delve into some of the YouTube clips, but I have to say, I don't keep up with it like I maybe should.
Not F1, but you know what? They again are brilliant. I mean, the speed they drive that, and it's unbelievable the way they go around those corners and the surfaces they're driving on. I do like it.
Mad skill.
It's just, I guess, because it's just always time though. You can't see two people racing against each other.
No, exactly. It's almost like qualifying, really, and how they do that. But it's a crazy skill, how they do it on the different surfaces. It makes a mockery of Formula One at times.
Joel says the track in India has become desolate.
Oh, really?
Sheikh says Malaysia had one of the best circuits. I hope the race comes back to Malaysia.
Yeah, massive F1 community in Malaysia as well. Big Hamilton fans, I think.
Malcolm Glover says, I miss the Schumacher days.
Well, they're coming back, baby. Mick's going to get a decent drive soon, we hope.
Tamisho says, do you expect Brazil dominance from the Red Bull?
I do. I really, honestly, and maybe it's my fault, Lewis fans out there, at the end of the US Grand Prix, I had a little moment with Kuhn where we said, let's just say, oh, and here we've got major pit actions.
This
should be Lewis Hamilton's
It's got to be
team.
for Lewis Hamilton, surely.
Bottas
bringing
has
in Lewis
already
Hamilton.
come in.
Yep, it is Hamilton coming in. It's not. He don't look in great shape. The car either.
Ooh.
Coming in there.
Come on, Lewis. We need a quick stop here, Robbie.
Stop.
Quick stop from Lewis. It's a good stop from Lewis.
Good stop. Out he goes.
Now we've gone the hard tyre, the white marked hard tyre. That's telling me Mercedes believe they can go to the end of the race now on this tyre. So the ball is back to Mercedes to say, okay, guys. Back to Red Bull to say, okay, guys, if you fancy it, you're going to have to go all the way here. Great stop there.
Of course, he's going to drop down now into 4th place.
Oh, down to 5th. Leclerc's just taken him as well. But that's okay, because Gasly and Leclerc are way behind when we had their 26-second stop on. So this really now is going to hamper Lewis a little bit. He now needs to be going as quick as he possibly can. So he's going to want to be past Charles Leclerc. And of course, Leclerc's under no obligation to pull to one side. They are racing. He's not a back marker. But now, if we go back a year or previous, where usually Mercedes would be in Max Verstappen's position right now, they wouldn't take any risk. They would be pitting Lewis immediately to cover the pit stop. I think that's what we need to see from Max Verstappen now. We need to see him come in, and if you are a Max fan, you want to see him have a decent stop, hard tyre on, you've matched Lewis, which means you're going to come out 7 or 8 seconds ahead of him still.
Or what if they've got good speed, they might just stay out there for a bit.
They might do, and that's the only way that they're going to be able to possibly have a chance here, Mercedes, if Red Bull decide, nah, we're going to ignore what you've done, over to you. But it looks like a lot of team radios. Is that them telling Max Verstappen to box?
Box, of course, means to come into the pit.
Exactly. They literally call the area that you have to stop in the box. So box.
Box. This is Verstappen. Who's that coming in,
this
Ricardo?
Is Charles Leclerc, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I'm colourblind, it's a red car.
yeah, it's Charles Leclerc. Now, Ferrari have not had the best pit stops lately, but that is a stunning pit stop.
That's a good pit stop.
And I think we're looking at 2.8 there, or 2.3, depending on what the pint glass is hiding.
The pint glass is beer. You know what? The pint glass is there to show that we are legally allowed to watch it.
Of course, yes. And we've just seen a graphic there. There is a 40% chance at the moment that Perez will come out in front of Hamilton after pit stop. So this isn't really about Lewis and Max right now. This is about Lewis and Perez and damage prevention, really.
He's not going to get Verstappen today unless there's some... We have seen it before in races where the car something goes wrong.
Yeah, I wonder if we could, you talked about Williams being sort of, a sister team of Mercedes. I wonder if we could have a team order of, could Latifi wipe Max out for us, towards the end of this race? I'm here for it.
Well, that'd be interesting.
And that's really how close we're talking this season. 25 points for a race win. It's a 12-point gap at the moment. 1 DNF, and all of a sudden we get a complete swing in leader.
I don't know how in those cars, right? It must be so hot sat in that car.
Ridiculously hot.
And the thing is about the driving position, what people don't know is that they're literally like that, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, actually a little higher. So I drew a graphic once. It's going to be difficult to do it here, but it's almost like that. So your legs actually go up and across. Yeah, I've sat in a Formula One car, amazingly. Jeez. Lord knows how they squeeze me in. It is not a comfortable position to be in, and they lose...
So your feet are actually up,
They're
raised.
actually above your eye level. That's the crazy part of it, and your arse is right down on the floor. For me, I was a little higher because there's a bit more padding.
That's scary. I'd be scared to even drive that.
Oh, it really, really is. And it takes, let me get this stat right, it takes something like 150 kilograms of force on your left foot to apply the brake properly.
By the way, Nick Nash says Hamilton just did the fastest lap.
Come on, Lewis, baby.
So,
and we're seeing Fernando Alonso putting up some fights in the midfield. Elbows out as Charles Leclerc just makes it round him to take 8th place back.
Still no pit stop though for Verstappen and Perez. If Hamilton's just done the fastest lap, maybe they might be looking to come in.
Yeah, or Red Bull are obviously confident now with their own pit strategies. They've got their own game plan here. They are not concerned about Lewis being fastest. They're not concerned about him being back into 3rd place. And this is what I told you about with the free pit stops here. Look now, Lewis has stopped and is in 3rd place. Sainz has not stopped, Vettel's not stopped, Raikkonen all the way down, they've not stopped. It's incredible the amount of distance that the top 3 have managed to already gain on the rest of the circuit. Oh, but Lewis, so he's currently 17 seconds behind Perez.
That's miles behind. Behind Perez.
Yeah, and then he's actually 29 seconds behind. No, this has been a good job for him, actually. If we say that it's 26 seconds on a stop, Lewis is now only 3 seconds behind Max Verstappen with a perfect max stop. In fact, we've been given enough information. We're here in 22.
Right, it looks like Verstappen's coming in. Here he is. He's coming into the pits to do his pit stop.
Is it Max or is it Perez? It's... they're no longer showing us. They used to give us. It is Max Verstappen.
It is Max Verstappen.
He needs a perfect stop here, Max
fans. Here he
fans.
comes, and it is a great stop.
It is a great stop.
And out he goes. Great
2.2 seconds.
And he'll come out back in the lead. So a great stop by Verstappen.
Well, he'll cut. Perez will take the lead briefly, but he will have the net lead of the race once Perez does his stop. Yeah, and they've just perfectly covered Lewis. Now, Lewis has actually closed the gap a little there. So what we're looking at now... Oh, no, we're not. Yeah, we're looking at 8.3 seconds. Wow. Max is really doing the business today.
Yep.
7.5 seconds to Lewis. Lewis has got the fresher tyre, so he might be able to gain another second on this lap, but nowhere near striking distance.
Nowhere near. Nowhere near. B2O says, come on, Max. And Ginger Lee says, Matt, can you explain in detail what's gone wrong for Lewis and Mercedes?
I think, firstly, the thing to unpick in that is wrong. Nothing has actually gone wrong as far as Mercedes is concerned. They build their car differently to Red Bull in that they run a low rake, which means they run a really flat car. Other than that, I think what I heard, and this is only a rumour, but we heard the cars are able to slightly adapt and change throughout the season, and that is the teams continually developing and doing that. I heard a rumour that Mercedes took their eye off that after the first few races and started already looking at 2022. Now, whether that is what has snowballed into Red Bull having that little bit of an edge, but I think for sure Red Bull have done everything right, and Marie, who is a day one off circuit, she reminded us this yesterday as well. At the start of this season, as we went into winter, Red Bull actually poached a lot of key Mercedes technical staff and some of their team into their camp at the start of the season. So in a nutshell, for me, it's not about what Mercedes have done wrong, but Red Bull really got their shit together for 2021. They mean business this year. The engine's a little quicker, the car, they've got everything down there, and they've got a champion like Max Verstappen, who's not a bad guy to lead the charge.
By the way, the crowd's going crazy at the moment because Sergio Perez is leading the race. So he's leading the race, but it's a bit of a false lead at the moment.
Yeah, I think net, unfortunately for him, he's definitely coming out third. No chance of him taking Hamilton anymore. Hamilton's been quick on the hard tyre. He needs to be careful that he doesn't lose a place to Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari here.
And Red Bull's cars are simply faster on this circuit. It says, unfortunately, I can't pronounce it. Can you read Chinese writing? Or?
Oh, no, but I'd love to have given it a go.
And apologies if it's not Chinese, it could be Korean, it could be...
Oh, it could be.
But, yeah, Red Bulls are simply faster on this circuit, he says. Lucas and Oliver says, what's 1 + 1?
Yeah, great. Yeah, love that. Nice, easy one for us.
Science has pitted, says
no,
next.
he's saying hasn't pitted, and I'm aware of that. But then if we look, Science is... so we're talking 14, 15 seconds, and then the 9 second. We're only at 25 seconds behind. Oh, come on now. It's a little tradition we have on off-circuit. Pizza halfway through a race. It is.
Right, well, let's keep that tradition going.
Come on. Love this. Cheers to you guys at home. I hope you've got a pizza where you are.
Or a taco, seeing as it's in Mexico.
That would have been good thinking.
All right, who's that? Is coming? Bottas?
It's Stroll. Lance Stroll. Oh my days, 6.7 seconds. Dreadful stop for the evil Stroll empire. Dreadful.
You don't like the Strolls, do you?
I really never did, no. I'm not a fan in a sport where effectively what's happened here is Daddy Stroll has said, what would you like to be, little boy, when you grow up? I'd like to be a Formula 1 driver, Daddy. Right, I'm going to buy you a team, I'm going to give you a car, and you're going to be my little champion. Fuck off. Earn it yourself. That's my feels with the Strolls. And so I kind of like to see him
But
fuck
that is
up.
motor racing, isn't it?
No, and I'm really
from
hoping
Lewis?
it isn't. Apart from Lewis, and Ocon actually is another one from a really working class background. But I don't think they all come from the crazy money and go to the lengths of buying a team. I know that Mazepin's family have been the major funder at Haas and the reason why he's ended up with a seat. I mean, we can put him in the bin and all. Look at them. The two daddy's boys are running last and second last. I'm happy about that at least. But no, I think a lot of them, they do bring their own endorsements and sponsorships, and I know some of that comes from family money. Don't at me, guys, but I know Lando Norris, for example, is one that comes with a lot of personal sort of family wealth and stuff. So I am a realist. I understand that the sport needs the cash to do it, but I do feel like for the likes of Mazepin, it was $50 million is what his dad put into the team in order to gain his drive. I think we could all have a little crowdfunder and be able to get him out of the sport pretty quickly, you know? Maybe we could raise 50 million quid and say, right, let's give it to the Hulk, Nico Hulkenberg, if you remember.
So what
him.
you're basically saying is, if you had the money and you had a little Matt, you could put him in a car and say, right.
Yeah, exactly. You could come in and
So
go...
you wouldn't need to... Oh, the TV. You wouldn't need to have any, you just get him in.
Yeah, basically. I guess like a couple more
now.
years of Arsenal fan TV and maybe your little lad, you buy yourself the Robbie Formula 1 team and your little lad becomes a Formula 1 driver. But I don't think that's right, I don't think you should be able to buy your way onto the Arsenal bench, as a footballer. I think you've got to earn that.
Guys, can we have the okay on the power off? That's a bit of our pit stop talking here.
Yeah, they've got 28
You've
seconds to
actually
do
got
it.
26 seconds.
It's nice to know they're listening
Or our
intently.
TV will go off.
They're really paying attention to this F1 chat, aren't they?
Vignesh says that's plain nepotism. 15 seconds.
Are you there, Jace?
Jason? 7 seconds, 6 seconds.
Right, guys, our TV's about to go off, so you're going to have to keep us in the loop here.
Our
Boom.
TV's gone off. Our TV's gone off. Can DR it? Mikey128 says, TV's back on now.
Great work.
Mikey, glad to see that they're all paying attention in there. Mikey128 says, can DRS be used at any time by drivers or as often as they like?
It's a great question. So, no. DRS, drag reduction system, can only be used at, in Mexico I'd need to check, but it's usually one point in the track. So there's a line, a physical line drawn across the track, and that's called the DRS Detection Zone. When you cross that line, if you are less than 1 second behind the car in front, then when you cross the next line, which is the DRS activation zone, you're able to open your rear wing and gain roughly around 30 kilometers an hour extra speed to assist with overtaking the car in front. So you can use it as many times as you want to do, but you must be within a second of the car in front when you pass that line, and then you can only use it down the DRS zone, which is usually the big straight.
Why?
Why?
Yeah,
Why what? Why can you only have it at certain times?
Yeah, why can't you just use it anytime you want?
Yeah, fair question. I think the introduction was all about, unfortunately, F1 had developed the downforce and the aerodynamics and everything with the cars. They did such a good job at making these cars stick to the ground and go fast that it also meant that they actually couldn't follow each other very well, and overtaking was becoming rarer and rarer. So they had to bring DRS in as a way of encouraging more overtaking. Mm-hmm. But if they just allowed DRS at all times, it'd possibly be a bit disrespectful on the cars in front in saying, well, actually, you're going to be of a bigger advantage if you just hang back. So this was seen as a bit of a compromise. Let's give them one opportunity down the main straight to encourage overtakes. Some F1 fans still hate the DRS, and some have embraced it. But it's a good question.
And you answered it very well.
Thank you. Now we're just over
apparently
halfway.
there's free zones in Mexico is what people are saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, all on the big straights, no doubt. Now we're just over halfway, guys. To check in, Perez might be leading this Grand Prix, but he has not stopped yet. He is going to lose roughly around 22, 23 seconds by the time he takes his pit stop and come out at least third, if not lower, depending on how that's going. Max Verstappen then leads Lewis Hamilton by about 9 seconds at the moment. So Max, if anything, is continuing to gain time on Lewis. Anything I thought Lewis had gained.
Bar a disaster, he's going to win the race.
Yeah. No doubt at all. Wow, Lando Norris jumps up to 7th place. Good moves from him.
And Ocon down in 14, Russell in 15th.
Ocon making a few moves there, doing bits.
So, going back to what you said there, right? So quite literally...
Here comes Perez in the pits.
Perez coming into the pits. Let's get this. Let's see what happens.
Need a good stop. Imperative that Perez comes out right behind Lewis again to keep the pressure on Lewis Hamilton. If you're a Red Bull fan, that's what you need to see.
That's a great pit stop again. Away he goes. Old tyres off.
Again, I don't know if that's 2.3 or 2.8, but I'm going to think that's probably a 2.3. It looked very good. Lewis does come back into 2nd place. And actually, Perez has got a few back markers to clear now. That's gone well for Lewis.
Oh, it's gone well for Lewis.
Yeah, really well, actually. They're going to slow him down.
Key ERS is kinetic energy recovery system. Use the energy from braking to charge the battery. Now, explain that to us.
Oh, my days.
And again, that was by our old friend with the Chinese or Korean or...
Yeah.
Tell us what writing that is, please.
Yeah,
so I'm getting it right.
Yeah, we want to know where you're watching from. Definitely tell us. So the engine recovery system, this is part of the hybrid element to the engine. I don't know all the science behind it, and we try not to get too geeky, because at the end of the day, there's loads of real technical, geeky sort of F1 shows out there, and it switches a lot of people off. But with this one, yeah, exactly right. It basically uses the energy, the spent energy of the car, so in the braking, particularly in order to recharge the batteries, and the batteries is there as a booster to the internal combustion engine. So just like, I think you've got a hybrid, haven't you? So just like your hybrid cars.
Electric.
Oh, you are all electric? My guy, all right. So yeah, just like the hybrid cars that are out there.
It's a diesel.
Oh, fair. Yeah, good. Yeah, you're rocking both camps.
So in one camp I'm saving the environment, and in the other camp I'm damaging it. But
yeah, I'm doing exactly the same. I've got a V8 petrol that drinks, and then an electric. We're all doing our bit. Yeah, so yeah, you're absolutely right in how it does it, and this is the turbo hybrid era. Formula One have announced that by, is it 2025 or was it 2030, they're going to have completely clean fuel. So whether that means that we come out of the turbo hybrid era and into a new hydrogen era or something else, we don't know.
Be interesting. Who's this coming in? Is
Bottas.
Bottas coming in? By the way, that was Chinese writing, I'm glad to confirm, so I did get it right the first time.
Oh dear, disaster for Bottas.
Oh, Bottas.
Front left,
Bottas
stuck.
tyre not coming off, his tyre stuck.
I tell you what.
And it's a disaster for Bottas. He's having an absolutely awful race.
Have they given up on him? Is that what's happened? Are they just disrespecting him at this point? That is dreadful. The man who sat on pole position today gets spun around at the first corner and then gets this thrown at him as well.
Well, just going into, you was asking where people are watching from.
Oh, come on then.
Chinese, well, that was, the writing was Chinese. Ivan says from Colombia. Blue Monster says from South Africa.
Wow.
Selfie boy Dylan says from Brighton. Dwight D says from Canada.
Addis is from Ethiopia.
From Norway. Chandri from Madras. Neil says from Arnhem. And Dave FC watching from Tigera.
Come on now.
Jan says from Belgium. From
Love
Medellin
this.
Says Ivan.
Robbie's international, baby.
International. AGD24 says Assam in India. He's watching from. From Wolverhampton says Menace to Society. Mishu says from Singapore. Box says from Jamaica. Iva says from Wales. Mr. Edison says from New York City. Gustav says from India. King Dre says from Yad. I think he means Yard, which is Jamaica.
Nice.
Mihal says Bulgaria. Luke from Newcastle.
Come on, Luke.
Say from India. Raghamambwa says from Rwanda. David Townsend says from Finland. B. Woodcock says from Sheffield.
So
Martin
good.
Fack from Belgium. Centurions 100 points says from Sweden. Hayden from Kazakhstan. Ahmad from India. And let me do a couple more. Meme from Holland. No doubt you are happy. Verstappen's winning. Aliyonka from Somalia. Nas from London. Zhevnin from Ukraine. You guys are watching from everywhere. Rico from London. Sky Junior from the USA. Oh my God, they're from
Come on.
everywhere. There's from people from Kenya in there, Stafford. Thank you very much to everybody who's watching all over the world right now.
Come on.
Amsu from Gambia, Starboy 1 from Birmingham, Mayoa from Nigeria, G Money from Wales, Bugsley from Dominica, Bubble Power from Pakistan,
Wow.
and Ram Patil from Mars.
You're Mr. World. You're Mr. Worldwide, you,
this
aren't
world.
you? Mr. Worldwide.
Even on another planet they're watching right now.
Now, Verstappen on his team radio, can you keep an eye on my front left tyre compared to other people? So he knows that all of the front lefts are degrading. What he wants to know is mine degrading more than others. Interesting comments from him.
That's another thing I always find really interesting to see, right? Is at the end of the race, you know, when the race is finished and they park up, the tyres are absolutely knackered. I mean, they're like ripped up to shreds.
Now, I know,
run down there driven on them.
Well, I know when you go to the F1, Robbie, you're all in hospitality, you're in a garage, you're kept away from the people very much.
Slightly.
Oh, come on, man.
Slightly.
Man. Yeah, come on.
Don't go mad.
No,
and it's good stuff.
Oh, it's so good. Easy, like it. I'm all right at the minute.
This is good stuff. I mean,
It's
you're
so
gonna have to,
good.
You have to tell me where you get that from over here.
Yeah, I did. I first discovered it over there, actually. I used to spend a lot of time in the States, and they got me hooked on it, and now I'm like, yeah, I'm all about it. So listen, when you go to the Formula One, I know that you're sort of, always a personal guest of a team and you're in a garage and you live in a swanky life.
That was only once, right?
But when I go to the Formula One, at the end of the race, to your point, when they do the podium, they actually open the gates and you can run on the track. And all over the track are what they call marbles. And they are the little pieces of rubber that come off the tyres. And all the little kids, and I did as well, fill in the pockets with all these little pieces of rubber that have come off the tyre. It's amazing how much wear and tear these things go through, and I guess the sheer pressure that they're under.
Crazy. Mr. Shrew says, can that Red Bull Honda please blow up? He's obviously a Hamilton fan. It ain't going to happen. They are flying. They are absolutely flying. Big up Greg from Dublin, by the way. But they're absolutely flying. Football Power says, I think if Verstappen wins the title this year, the fans will say he's better than Hamilton.
Oh, listen, let's not confuse one great season with the greatest of all time, people. Lewis needs some respect putting on his name.
For real. Tamisho says a possible puncture, possibly creeping up.
Yeah, it's wishful thinking, I think.
Wishful thinking.
Wouldn't it be great, though?
It's been the car's been quite reliable this year.
Yeah,
the Red Bulls especially.
We did see the big blowout at Baku, actually, which was a Pirelli incident that saw Lance Stroll and Max Verstappen inexplicably their tyres just exploded and they were out of the race. I think we should have got to the bottom of that by now. We shouldn't be worried about that. I tell you what, you can worry about though, specifically in Mexico. This is one of the highest altitude races in the calendar year, and as such, it means that the air that the engines are sucking in is actually, I don't know whether it's denser or more humid or what, but we have seen a lot of engine blowouts here.
Thinner air, isn't it?
Thinner, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, less
Ivor
oxygen.
says, Don, this guy's energy and enthusiasm is insane. Love it. If someone like this was on the coverage, so many people would enjoy it so much more.
They don't let people who look like me, sound like me, talk like me anywhere near these things.
Post Malone looking Matt up onto
come on. Let's get it. Let's get it. I'm in if you guys are in.
Taylor says, when I went to Singapore in 2010, I got a piece of the Covalins Lotus off the track.
Wow.
After the race.
Oh, that is cool. It's sad actually now to hear that apparently the teams scoop up debris and take it back to the factory as part of like analysis and stuff. But yeah, back in the day, fans did used to have a big crash. They'd all be like, fucking hell, I've got a piece of his wing and here's this piece of fiberglass.
Red Bull said, the guy with the Chinese writing again says, Red Bull is controlling the race. Verstappen slows his car down to preserve his tyres and engine.
So true. So currently, let's check in. It's a good reminder, actually, all the way from China. Thanks for keeping us on track. Lewis Hamilton, 12 seconds behind Max Verstappen, who's leading this Grand Prix. Sergio Perez, he is 7 seconds behind Lewis, but he's gaining at almost a second a lap at the moment. So Perez has been told, excuse the pun, it's hammer time. Go get Lewis. Give him something to cheer for in that old baseball stadium.
Andrew M says, Matt, big up yourself. You're great at what you do, my brother.
Oh, thank you. Big love.
And Dave FC says, if this guy comes on more, I might just be more interested in Formula One. I'm liking this stream a lot, Don Robbie.
Hey, listen, that's why we exist, guys. We're not here for the technical geeks out there that just want to get into it about F1. There's loads of great channels out there, but off circuit, I started that this year purely and truly for the people who feel like they're interested. You might have watched Drive to Survive, or you might have seen your parents were into it back in the day and you think, I like it, but I don't know enough about it. That's why we exist, guys, honestly, is we just want to make it a bit more relatable, break it down a bit, and big up to you, Robbie, for giving F1 this kind of platform and putting it on your channel. I love F1. Jay Gooner Fan TV says, big up to the Don and Max from Perth, Australia. Local fans aren't happy with their homeboy Daniel Ricciardo's performance. Hope Verstappen and Red Bull win, he says. Yeah, stinker of a year for Danny Rick. Kind of rescued by the win in Monza this year. I think up until then, a lot of people were kind of heartbroken, myself included, and thinking, we just want to, I don't know what it is about Danny Rick, we all just want to see him do well. I really hope that next year's a fresh start and we can see him challenging. If the cars are going to be closer together, I'd expect to see Danny Rick on the podium a few more times. Okay, tactical M1ND says, if Lewis Hamilton doesn't win the championship this year, I think it will stop him going for another world championship, especially when Russell joins Mercedes. I think the only reason Lewis Hamilton signed an extension, another 2 years he's going to do after this, 22 and 23, is because they don't feel like it's in the bag. I think it's got to be obvious. Lewis's only goal is to become an 8-time world champion, and then after that, I think he's happy to call it a day. It ain't in the bag. It really isn't. Louis says, bring back aggregate qualifying. What was that? For the people who don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know. That's, I think that's before my time. I do know that next Saturday we bring back the sprint race for the third and final time in this season. I don't know if you managed to catch explain the sprint race. I mean, I saw the last one. Hamilton won the last one. Yeah. Explain the sprint race and why they're so keen on bringing the sprint race into instead of qualifying. Well, I think probably with a business head on, the idea of the sprint race is that it actually gives F1 more of a platform throughout the weekend. So rather than practices, not a lot of people are interested. You have to be a diehard to watch the practice sessions. So what it means is they get to move qualifying to a Friday, so there's extra viewership there. And then on a Saturday, the idea of a sprint race, it is a 100-kilometre race, no pit stops. They all stick the soft tyre on, the fastest tyre, and it quite literally is whoever finishes top on that is then going to start there in the in the race. So it replaces traditional qualifying with a little bit of jeopardy, a bit of like drama. There's all sorts that could go wrong. There's things that could happen there. So how do you decide who starts first? So we still do a mini qualifying on the Friday to decide who starts where for the sprint race. So that's why I think at first I would have been saddened to lose qualifying, but the fact that we have to qualify for sprint anyway means we are just getting an extra race on a weekend, which I'm here for. No pit stops mean it is literally just about the speed of the cars out there on the track. It just gives us something else to look forward to, I think. Marcus says, do you think that if Max wins this race, then Max wins the championship? Oh, I really hope not. I think so. I think he'll go 19 points ahead. I think if he does that, just me jumping in on, I think if he does that, the only way he can lose the championship, he'd have to crash out in a race. I don't know. I think Brazil is going to be strong. So Brazil, we could look at Max winning again and going 26 points clear of Lewis with 3 to go. But with those 3 races to go, okay, Max would need to finish lower than second in 1 or 2 of those races, but Abu Dhabi at the final race is a Mercedes track. Lewis should win that race. Saudi Arabia and Qatar, we haven't raced there before, so we can't say for sure, but it looks like they're going to be well suited to Lewis. So that is why Red Bull are bringing this intensity to South America to say we need to get all the points we can here because it could be advantage Mercedes in Middle East. All right, David NL says, Don Robbie, are you doing a watch-along for the F1 in Brazil next week? We are. We are. Tactical M1ND says, Max deserves the title this season, 100%. Edward Noble says, evening, fellas. Hi. Looks like Lewis hasn't got what it takes in his final third to get it done.
Also, great to see Liverpool lose today. So.
Love that, Eddie Noble. Love that.
What's your team?
Anything but Liverpool. I hate Liverpool. My team is fuck Liverpool. No,
why?
I grew up with a few Scouse football fans that were the most biased and remain the most biased, irritating football fans out there. And I don't know, it just gave me a bit of a nervous twitch when it comes to Liverpool. But I'm a Southampton fan as well, so it doesn't help that
because they nicked all your players.
They've pillaged. It used to be you lot, actually. You were terrible for it. Walcott and Chamberlain and...
They
Chambers.
nicked all your players, so you're bitter. I get it.
In fact, you ruined every player you took off us. Callum Chambers was a great young prospect until you guys took him on.
Yeah, well, can have him back.
But yeah, can't bear Liverpool, so great to see them lose today.
Ansu says, great stuff, Matt. Sharaf says, how much fuel goes into an F1 car? Guess all drivers need to have a minimum amount of fuel left at the end of the race. Now, explain that to Sharaf.
Yeah, so back in the day, you had almost like how you can choose your tyre strategy and you can stop once, stop twice, whatever. You used to be able to choose your fuel strategy and you could choose to run on low fuel. And obviously in a sport like this, the lighter the car, the faster you're going to be. So if you put less fuel in, then you're going to be a lot lighter and go a lot faster. It was dangerous, Robbie, all the refueling. So they've said, no, you know what now? There's a standard rule. You all have to have a full tank of fuel at the start of the race, and then you're going to burn it off. Right? I don't think it's actually full. I'm giving false information there. But they all have to have a set amount at the start of the race. And generally, on a 71-lap race, they'll calculate and put 70 laps worth of fuel in, can you believe? And risk that there'll be a safety car or a reason why they're going to burn slightly less fuel. So they'll go all the way to the max. And that's why you see the cars get randomly pulled and put on a weighbridge to make sure that they're not cheating by running a lighter car.
Okay. Marcus says, Don Robbie should be knighted. Best man on YouTube. I had to read that one out. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I love that.
Why is it?
So
now explain this one, right?
Come on.
Why at the end of a race do they all get weighed, the drivers?
It's a good question, actually. So the drivers, can you believe in this day and age, have a minimum and maximum weight that they're allowed to be as a human being. And Lewis has come out and talked about this, and they've since had to relax it because he found it quite harrowing. That it wasn't about getting fat like it would be for me. It was literally about the fact that they weren't allowed to gain muscle even. The teams were going and saying, well, if the minimum weight is, for example, 70 kilos, then actually we don't want you to be 75 kilos because you're 5 kilos heavy. When we're spending millions of pounds making every component of the car as light as possible, for you to carry an extra 5 kilos is bullshit. So the reason that they weigh them at the start and the finish is basically these guys lose anywhere up to like 6 kilograms in body fluid during the race. So yeah, it literally, can you believe? So somebody like Yuki Tsunoda, who is a tiny little guy, has to have more mass on him than a Daniel Ricciardo, who's 6 foot and is going to be a lot skinnier than the rest of them.
Wow.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Jay Gunner Fan TV says, I agree with Matt. I hate Stroll and Mazepin because they are spoilt brats. Question for Matt.
Come on.
Give Giovinazzi a stay at Alfa Romeo and Mick at Ferrari at 2033.
Let's address Mick at Ferrari 2023. I think the world wants to see Schumacher back at Ferrari. The world wants to see it. So I'm all for seeing that.
Is he good enough, though?
I think he'll come good.
He crashed out of this on the first lap.
He did, yeah, and you know, some of that is going to be definitely down to the fact that he's a rookie. He's in the shittest car on the grid by a long way. But when we say is he good enough, let's face it, Ferrari aren't challenging for a world championship. Right now, I think Mick could take the seat of a Carlos Sainz. Not tomorrow, but by 2023, and that be justified as a rookie who's going to come through and be given chance to improve. So yeah, I'm all for Mick coming through and doing that. Now, Giovinazzi, on the other hand, has had his time. At Alfa Romeo, he was there as a young driver alongside a young Charles Leclerc, and what do you know? Charles Leclerc proved himself enough to progress into the big team of Ferrari and become... He's looking like really the future of Ferrari and a superstar. For me, Giovinazzi has had year after year after year of mediocrity. It's time for him to go. What I would love to see is alongside of Valtteri Bottas at Alfa Romeo. I can't believe he still doesn't have a seat in Formula One. Nico Hülkenberg, I'd love to see him back. I'd love to see him at Alfa Romeo. And the Hulk and Bottas as a partnership, wow. I think it would set Alfa Romeo alight.
Okay, Louis Ashton says aggregate qualifying meant that drivers did 2 one-shot laps, one on low fuel, one with their car race fuel load.
Interesting.
And the aggregate time was then taken from the two.
Seems overly complicated, but interesting.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And Mr. C says, remember when Vettel got disqualified for having too low fuel at the end of the race, even though he finished second?
Yeah. Yeah, that was only last year, or was it even? It wasn't this year. I think it was last year. And yeah, we do see it happen. And it was simply because the. Was it to do with the fact that it was something to do with safety cars? Either we didn't have any or we had loads of them. So it wasn't like they were blatantly cheating, but yeah, they stripped him of his podium.
Taylor Alpar says some drivers used to drive without a water tank in their cars purely to reduce the weight.
Wow. And we've heard from the legend Kimi Räikkönen that no water is not a good thing. Very much frustrates him.
Starboy1 says Hamilton is bringing the Merc team all by himself. Bottas is just useless.
Yeah.
Always at the back. He's not had it. He's a bit unlucky today. He got clipped.
He did, and his team have screwed him over with a 11-second pit stop or whatever it was. Misfortune seems to follow Bottas around at Mercedes. I loved him at Williams back in the day. He was such an exciting prospect coming through, but he's never really done it at Mercedes for me.
Apex says, I would love to see Kevin Magnussen given another chance.
Okay, Mag. Yeah, a lot of years, and I found actually that Haas pairing of Magnussen and Grosjean to be an exciting one for a few years. Gunther Stein, as a legend, comes across really well on Drive to Survive. But yeah, it's just a different Haas these days. No development. I think what we need to see is Andretti come in, buy the Haas team, sack Marzipan and that sort of Russian involvement off, and let's see some excitement coming through there again.
Was he at Williams as well?
No, first year this year.
Who was the Russian guy at Williams?
Kubica?
Is it Kubica?
Yeah, there was Kubica. I think older guy as well.
I think he was the one that had a lot of money behind him as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I don't like that.
Just checking in on the leaderboard here. Max Verstappen is the fastest man on track once again, and he is 14.5 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. And Sergio Perez has managed to stay 2 seconds there or thereabouts behind Lewis for third place. It is looking like that's the way it's going to go. As we see George Russell battling Lance Stroll. Go on, George. Yeah. I don't think he's quite done the business, but he's given it a good go.
Well, Stroll must be an half-decent driver if he's...
Honestly, the community's split. I genuinely don't feel like, if we were to compare him for people who don't have a seat, Nico Hülkenberg, I keep talking about him just because I've been so impressed with him coming in and filling in last year. Comparing him to a Nico Hülkenberg, no, I don't think he is. I don't think he can justify his seat over drivers that don't currently have seats in Formula One. But there is a big fan base out there who really believe. I mean, hit us up in the comments. Are you a fan of Lance Stroll? Do you feel like he's got the raw talent, or is he just there for daddy's seats? I'd love to know what you guys make of it, but I see him making too many mistakes for me, and he ain't new. Lance Stroll was driving for Williams a couple of years ago as well. I think he's been around 4 or 5 years now.
Jay Gunnar-Fan TV says, questions for Matt again. What do you think of Albon being the lead driver for Williams in 2022? Who is the better driver of the decade between Perez and Ricciardo?
So 2 questions in there. Here's my thoughts on Albon. Lovely guy. Happy for him that he's back in Formula One, that he's got another opportunity. But I think he's already had his time. He's blown it. And for me, it's time to move on to new rookies and new kids coming through. Let me say it again, really happy that Albon, for him, that he's managed to get a seat. I think Williams is a really good fit for him. So all of that is great. But for me, he proved that when push comes to shove, when he's put under pressure in that Red Bull, he could not do the business, and he didn't deserve then, for me, to be taking the seat of somebody more deserving. Better driver of the decade between Danny Rick and Perez. I'm probably a little bit one-sided with it because I love him, but I think Danny Rick edges it for me. I think he's had to make some tough career choices and his career's been going downwards, going to Renault and then, jumping into the McLaren and hoping that would become something. I think overall it's fair to say Danny Rick's had a better decade than Perez, but Perez is on his way up.
Okay, on Stroll, Joe Findlay Banner says Lance Stroll is dead food. Marcus says daddy's money. Lloyd Rickson says Stroll for life. Deepak says I don't like Lance Stroll. Marcus says I believe in Stroll. I can't lie, Gasly's looking good as well. Tactical M1ND says, I think Stroll is a good driver, but got his seat because it was bought for him. So, yeah, not a lot of people feeling Lance Stroll by the looks of it.
Yeah, a little bit split though. There's definitely some Stroll fans out there, isn't there?
Well, his daddy's pumping a lot of money into the biz.
Oh, and there you go. Yeah, Joel's a really good point from Joel. I don't know if you read this one. Lance is definitely better than Latifi and Schumacher at the moment, and Mazepin. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's the worst driver on the grid by any means. There's definitely people doing a worse job than Stroll. But, you know, for Stroll to be billed as this amazing driver and the future of Formula One, when we talk about Leclerc and Norris and, you know, all the other young guys that are coming through, I don't think Stroll's name should be put up there.
Who is the... take out Verstappen, take out Lewis.
Yeah.
Best driver on the track, apart from them two.
It's tricky, you know, and I know what you're saying. If you put them all in the same car,
you can see there, Sergio Perez is he's catching Lewis Hamilton, and he probably will end up passing him.
We are not hearing what we should be hearing from the crowd, but you guys at home, I'm sure,
is going crazy.
We're treated to something.
Because Perez is catching Lewis Hamilton.
He could be in DRS on the next lap with 11 laps to go. We could be seeing him coming through.
Definitely, that Red Bull is way quicker than the Mercedes on this circuit. And you can see there, he's right on his gearbox. He's catching him.
I think for me...
And the crowd are going ballistic. You can see the crowd there.
They're going for it.
They are loving this. Of course, Sergio Perez, Mexican driver.
They would love it if he spoiled the day of Lewis as well. On top of him being on the podium, him, you know, helping his team for a possible championship. I think it's massive. I think for me, Robbie, to answer your question, best driver other than Max or Lewis on the grid, only because I'm going to say this because I think, unlike other drivers, his cars let him down more. I genuinely think Charles Leclerc is probably right up there. And Lando Norris, honourable mention, great work from him this last year. Really consistent driving for the first 6 months.
Gasly?
No, you see, Gasly for me proved while he was at Red Bull that he couldn't hack it. He was dropped in the end for Albon. So for me, that's evidence enough that he can't do it at the top level. He's a mid-table driver.
Perez is right on Lewis Hamilton right now.
He is going for him now. Now he's in DRS. So Perez is now going to have DRS. Possibly has he got it open on this straight? If not, it'll be on the next. Yes, it is open. Perez is coming for him. Reeled him into 0.6.
Right up on Lewis Hamilton now. Here he's going to try and make a move on Lewis Hamilton, but no, he doesn't get the move done.
But he's going to have another lap of reeling him in now. If he can stay, look, 0.5 behind Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton defending well there, but look how close Sergio Perez is to Lewis Hamilton.
The swing in the championship between first and second is 7 points. Between first and third is a whopping 10 points. Add the fastest lap for Max Verstappen. We are looking here at Max taking an 11-point advantage over Lewis today, bringing his grand total to 23 points in the championship. This is almost over before we get to Brazil.
Football Power says Hamilton's bottled it. I don't know about that.
I think it's just the dominance of Red Bull at this track.
You can see the dominance on the track, and Bottas has not helped him in any way. It was set up for them at the start. It was, 1 and 2 on the grid. Bottas in the lead, but it's just not worked out that way. Bottas, of course, getting involved in a crash on the first lap.
Mad.
And yeah, that just pushed him right down to the bottom of the grid.
Looking at the rest of the track as we see Perez on DRS again.
Perez again right up on Lewis Hamilton. He's going to try and make a move on him.
He's just edging it, just swinging out to let Lewis know he's here. Lewis is going to be feeling this, but let's not forget...
Lewis has got some back markers to get past as well.
But Lewis has got a lot of experience here. He's not going to be bricking it like some of the younger guns might be. Just checking in with the rest of the field here. Pierre Gasly, what a day he is having. Still in 4th place at this Grand Prix. He's managed to keep the 2 Ferraris behind him in 5 and 6. But I do want to do a little shout out for Kimi Räikkönen. Right at the end of his career in that dog shit Alfa Romeo car, is in 8th place, well into the points. He's got Alonso and Norris behind him in way quicker cars. Really good drive from him. And Sebastian Vettel, our mystic Evan, the man who predicts all the madness, predicted a top 6 finish for Sebastian Vettel today. And he's sat 7th.
Mate George Russell, he's all the way down there.
Yeah, he's down there, unfortunately.
16th. Sorry, George.
He can hide behind the Williams performance car-wise, I think.
Marcus said, should Lewis pit and get the super softs on and take the fastest lap?
I promise you.
Also, Russell going from Williams to Merck is like Ollie going from Cardiff to United, he says.
It is a big leap. It's a big leap, but unlike Ollie, I think he's mad talented, George Russell, and I think he's going to do bits.
Yeah, Jay Guna, Fan TV, says, question for Robbie. Who's the better British driver, Norris or Russell?
Ooh.
Question for Mac. How long will Lewis, Alonso, Vettel stay in the game?
Great, you go first. That's a great
Russell,
question.
better driver for me.
Yeah, I have to say I agree, just purely on his one race performance at the Sakir Grand Prix in the Mercedes.
Even in that car he drives in, right, in the Williams car, he always out-qualifies his partner. He always punches above his weight.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he won a Grand Prix. No, sorry, second, didn't he?
Yeah.
Second in a Grand Prix.
Which was a technicality because they kind of cancelled the race, but he qualified in second place.
Yeah, but still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to get serious, man. George Russell.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And what was my question?
How long will Lewis, Alonso and Vettel stay in the game? Yeah,
great question. I think Lewis has made it clear he'll leave at the end of 23, and I can kind of back that. I'm surprised it's as long as it is. I can't see Alonso lasting longer or Vettel. I think 23 could be the end of the legends, and this could be where really the old guys will become Verstappen. You know, he is going to become one of the senior people on the track in the next 3 years.
Maximilianaire says, this guy knows his F1. Big up. Thank you very much. I do know my F1.
He does. He's a good lad as well. He's a good lad.
Yeah, he does know his F1. He knows it. That's why he's here. That's why he runs the F1 pit stop, right? Because the knowledge. And make sure you subscribe to his channel. It's a brilliant channel. If you want to catch up on all things to do with F1,
come on. We do this for every single race. We do a live watch along, and then we do a post-race podcast where we do a bit of analysis and we talk about the highs, the lows, everything in between. And gas to say that Robbie is joining us for that one. Yeah. So he'll be on off circuit tonight where we're going to break down everything that happened in today's race.
Yeah. Taylor says, when people ask the question between Norris and Russell, I always say Russell because Russell edged him out in the 2018 F2 Championship.
Oh, yeah, and very true. Yeah,
and that's the way to do it. Where did Stroll finish in that?
And not quite as blessed and high. In fact, in 2018, he was already in Formula One, I think, Stroll, first year. He was just slightly older. Amazing. Hamilton, meanwhile, has managed to put a little bit of space between him and Perez.
I noticed that,
Gained almost a second, 1.5, and I hope to keep him there.
Him up? What's that blue flag for? Tell him to move over.
Exactly right, yeah. So the back markers get 5 blue flags waved before they get a penalty to say get out of the way.
Well, why don't they get out of the way now?
Yeah, they need to do. Yeah, they're going to be hurting Lewis's chances right now. Now, going back to a point, I don't know who it was who talked about Lewis pitting for the soft tyre and coming out to take the fastest lap point off Max. No way is he going to risk that if Perez is still behind him like that. So Lewis Hamilton's hands are tied in terms of fastest lap, and unfortunately, if Bottas was in the top 10, Mercedes would be able to ask him to come in and just steal that point away from Max. But you only get the fastest lap point if you finish in the top 10. So it's no good for Bottas right now. So really and truly, there is nothing that Mercedes can do about Max taking that extra point.
Liam says, what percentage would you say Lewis's chances of winning the championship this season?
Now, and I keep changing my mind, all season long was 70-30 Lewis Max. And then after the US, I changed to 60-40 Max Lewis. I think I'm even now maybe going to have to drop to 65% Max. I think Lewis really, I know these are all bullshit numbers, but based on confidence.
Max.
Do you think so, yeah?
10% Lewis, yeah.
I don't know though, Robbie, even after today, even if it finishes as it is and it's a 19, 20 point lead for Max, let's not forget that if Lewis wins in Brazil and Max DNFs, Lewis takes a 5-point lead into the last 3 races. It's not a huge lead.
Taylor says Stroll was in F1 in 2018 because his dad, surprise, surprise, was investing big in Williams. Then mid-season, he bought out Force India.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've even heard rumours already that the evil Stroll Empire are looking at offloading Aston Martin now that he's built it up. I think he bought in for hundreds of million and it's worth a couple billion now, and he might be looking at selling.
Well, good if you got the dough.
Yeah.
Lewis, by the way, still holding out that second place. We are now, what, lap 66?
66.
of 71, it's clear that Verstappen is going to win the race unless disaster strikes. Can Lewis Hamilton hold on to second place? Sergio Perez is pushing him all the way.
And that now is the only question. Can Lewis hold on to second? Max has got almost a free pit stop out in the lead there. He's only 3 seconds away from being able to have a stop on top of Lewis.
Yeah, Patrick McCann says this is why Perez isn't elite. All set up to catch Hamilton. Oh, it just jumped, I think, and he said he didn't catch him. Philippe says Robbie is ready to purchase Aston Martin.
Yeah, love that. Love that.
Oh, that'd be a dream, wouldn't it? F1 team.
Andrew M is saying, we need rain, please. Yeah, rain would be great, but I don't think it's happening.
Late for rain. Bit late for rain.
Yeah, the sun looks like it is shining down on Max Verstappen.
Federico says, looking forward to the race in my home country next week. Watching all the way from Porto Alegre, south of Brazil. Big up to you. Jay Gunafan TV, another question for Maxi. Me hitting you with a lot of questions. Imagine if Daniel Ricciardo goes to Mercedes when Lewis goes. Do you think he'll win the championship? Also, will Ocon be a future champ?
Big fan of Ocon's. Definitely for his age as well. I think he needs to be considered up there with the likes of Charles Leclerc, Norris, George Russell. He's just not in the right car at the moment. So, yeah, big fan of his. Who knows? It's really going to depend what happens with the cars and how even they get. Danny Rick, irrespective of him jumping in a Mercedes, Mercedes may not have the dominance that they once had. I'd love to see him win a world championship. I think he's good enough for it. But I think the days of just being in the best car and hoping that you'll win a championship are numbered.
LAPD says Hamilton is overhyped.
Ooh!
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think 7 titles, you can't do that by accident. He's always had to have at least a teammate.
7 titles and a guy, look at his story where he's come from.
Totally.
He is not overhyped. He's the greatest driver.
And let's just say, this season, the Red Bull has been the better car. Max has got something like 9 or 10 pole positions this year. Lewis has got 3. Max has got like 8 race wins. Lewis has only got a few. And yet still Lewis is in a title battle with him. So it's kind of, ultimately, if he can pull it off...
Here it comes. Oh, that was Bottas.
Just undertaking himself. Just allowing himself to get back. Oh, Lewis, and now actually, I'm pretty happy with the gap there. Yeah, Lewis 1.6. So he's not going to be able to relax now for the last 3 or 4 laps. But it is looking like a done deal for Max Verstappen.
Predator says lucky Hamilton.
And actually, Max Verstappen has lost 4 seconds to Lewis Hamilton in the last lap. So he's really taken the foot off the gas and saying, OK, preserve the tyres, take it easy. I'd love to know what his team radio is saying. It sounds like they're just asking him to take it easy.
Got the race won, innit? Unless he makes a mistake. Unless there's a problem with his car. It doesn't look like it. Only 2 laps to go. And Max Verstappen will win the Mexico Grand Prix. Can Lewis Hamilton get second place now is the question. I'll tell you what, he would have done well to get second place.
Yeah.
You know? He would have done well. And Verstappen there lapping Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, and then Bottas unlapping himself. But he is nowhere in this race, Valtteri Bottas. Could he do us all a favour and just slam into Max for us now, actually?
Nah,
let's get this championship wide open.
Imagine if he did do that.
Wow, that is a great stat. Most overtakes this season. Vettel and Alonso, both on 104. The 2 old dogs have got more overtakes. Just goes to show you how good they are, innit? Really
but
does.
They're just in not as good a cars. Sergio Perez still chasing down Lewis Hamilton. Can Lewis Hamilton keep that second place?
Almost a second, Robbie. We're watching on the time screen of Perez there. He is so close to having DRS for the final lap. He's going to try and reel him in. I tell you what, that grandstand is going to lose their minds.
To change tyres again.
He is, but he isn't going to be able to keep that extra point. Does it take it off Max, though?
To try and get the fastest...
yeah, so I wonder in the rules whether
soft.
Bottas doesn't get the point because he's not the top 10, but neither does Max. That must be what this is. Oh, a bit of shithousery from Mercedes.
Anyway, there's Perez there closing in again
Here
on
he
Lewis
comes now.
Hamilton. This is his chance now to pass Hamilton.
2 laps to go. The Mexicans will lose their minds if he manages to get this done at the end of the race. What a finish it would be.
Hamilton has been holding on for dear life for about the last 5-6 laps. And Perez is right on him now. He's very close.
The tyres look good.
Very close here.
Oh, a little bit of oversteer though coming out of that corner.
Was a little bit oversteer by him, and he's lost a little bit of time there. You can see there, and Hamilton's got away from it. That is those little fine margins,
tiny,
isn't it?
But he's still in DRS, so all the way through this lap, it's not necessarily his job to do the business now, it's to keep reeling him in to make sure you can do the business at the end of the race.
Bottas is useless, says Craig.
Here we go.
He did get clipped. You've got to remember he did get clipped at the start of that race. The Mexican fans are going mad.
We are entering the final lap of the Mexican Grand Prix.
Final lap.
What a day for Max Verstappen. Incredible race from him, Robbie.
It has been, it has been.
16 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton,
Wow.
and he started down in 3rd place.
Wow. He's got DRS here.
Yeah, he is charging on DRS. He's trying to reel him in.
He's just not getting him, is he?
He's just slightly too far back.
Can he make a move here? No, Hamilton's closed him off. Hamilton's good at defending, isn't he?
Yeah, and I don't think he'll be sat there panicking too much. He's too experienced for that. He knows what his job is.
Perez doesn't want to get too
I tell you what, though, Raikkonen could upset him here. Raikkonen could upset Lewis. 0.5 seconds now to Sergio Perez. He is all up in Lewis's business right now, right on his back
right
tail.
on him, right on him.
And Lewis is actually about to come into Kimi Raikkonen. Kimi needs to get out of the way of Lewis to not cause an incident here. Wow, there goes Max.
There goes Verstappen. He's going to win the race.
Yeah, coming through the stadium sector.
Yep.
No dramas for him. Perfect, mature race from Max Verstappen.
Verstappen.
And he wins the Grand Prix.
He wins the Grand Prix. Congratulations going out to Max Verstappen. Another
Wow.
unbelievable race by him and another win. He's won so many races this season, and it looks like Lewis Hamilton is going to survive and get through in 2nd place. Hamilton in 2nd, Sergio Perez in 3rd. Hamilton done very well to fight off Perez and get a 2nd place.
What we're waiting for here is a
Bottas.
fastest lap.
Bottas.
Are we going to see Bottas
Can
do
Bottas
a fastest
get a fastest lap and take that away from
Yes,
Verstappen?
Valtteri Bottas is the fastest man. He will not get the point, but as I understand it, he will be taking it off Max Verstappen and helping out his teammate Lewis Hamilton.
Wow.
Oh!
Great race. Congratulations going out to Max Verstappen. Kuhn will be on the phone to you in the morning. He'll be saying, I told you. What did I tell you? What did I tell you, Matt? I told you he's going to win. You can see the Red Bull engineers, they're celebrating. Verstappen's got his hand out of his car. He's overjoyed. Another step taken towards the championship. It looks almost certain, bar disaster, they have 4 races to go, that he's going to do the business. But a great win for him. Great win for him.
Robbie, I'm just, the nerves are building and carrying over. It's a rollover into next week now. Lewis has got to start doing something different if he wants to win an 8th world title. And I don't feel like he's going to have a better opportunity than this. You know, the cars are going to get even closer together next year. What have Mercedes got to do?
Max Verstappen in that Red Bull, it has been the best car this season.
He looks unstoppable.
And he does look unstoppable. He does look unstoppable. And Mercedes just can't deal with him at the moment.
Now, this is amazing. They have possibly the best podium throughout the entire Grand Prix.
Cool podium.
Wait till you see it. The car and the driver are going to be lifted up to the podium on a little riser.
Okay.
For the end of this, it's
Jay Cooner TV
show.
says, question for the Don. Do you think AJ and Lewis are unlucky this year in their sports? Question for Max. How long will Bottas, Perez, Ricciardo continue in the game? No, I don't think they're unlucky. I think, listen, in both, AJ, he got beaten by the better man, and Lewis is getting beaten by the better man at the moment. Max Verstappen, the better man in the better car right now.
The better car. Let's not say the better man. Let's say the better car.
Well, listen, he's doing it week in, week out. He's not faulted.
he
he's not
really
making
is.
mistakes.
No, he's not.
I think he's been outstanding, Max Verstappen, this season. You can't take it away from him. It's not just a car.
Yeah, you can.
Sergio Perez got the same car. Look, he just finished third.
Yeah, no, it's so true.
No, Max Verstappen
He's doing bits, isn't he?
He's been unbelievable. So, Football Power says Hamilton title over.
Don't.
Verstappen owns Hamilton, says King McSimmery. Verstappen owns. Yeah, sorry, I just did that one. Great race.
Wow.
Deserved win.
Yeah, and big up all the Max fans in there. They're going to have a little party tonight.
There's Perez.
Yeah, I think preemptively what we were expecting out of Mexico happened in the end, and as somebody who maybe was hoping to see Lewis do bits, the fact that he managed to split the Red Bulls today is a good result for Lewis and Mercedes. It is a Red Bull track. They've at least managed to keep Perez behind him, but we're just running out of time. If this race was earlier in the season, I think we could hold our head high and say on to the next, but we've only 4 races to go, and Max, all important, took points off Mercedes in the USA last week, which was a Mercedes track, and then he's gone and delivered at a Red Bull track here.
You know what I think? You know what I think he really Verstappen. Where to me, if he wins,
This Perez's family there.
Perez's family.
Beautiful.
Not short of a few penny, I bet as well. That he's got
doubt.
that drive. But you know where I think Verstappen really. It was that race where he had to start from the back of the grid.
Yeah.
And he managed to finish second. It
Yeah.
all worked out for him.
Yeah, perfect.
That
for him.
race, you know what I mean? There was a crash.
Yeah,
And,
and
he
you
was
need
able
that.
to, and he was able to.
If you're going to win a title, you need that. And Lewis has
Yeah.
had that over the years. He's had those crazy shock results where even when the cards were stacked against him, he was still able to come through and do it. And yeah, that is how it's gone for Max. And can I just say about Sergio Perez here?
Getting a hero's welcome, by the way.
And the drama and the reason why he's got the welcome that he has is this time last year, he was performing amazingly at Force India, and then that evil Stroll Empire decided to drop him, sign Vettel instead, and we were looking at the end of the season, he had no seat. He was going to be retired and done and out of Formula One. And then Christian Horner scoops him up out of the blue and gives him a chance at Red Bull. And so there will have been a lot of Mexican fans who didn't think they would see a Mexican driver driving again in Mexico. And not only did he get the seat, but he's been brilliant this last few races. He's really taken the fight to Mercedes now and backing up his teammate. And he's stood on the podium deserved today. So it's a big roller coaster for him at his home Grand Prix. And by the way, Mexico, they haven't produced a lot of massive sort of world champions or anything, but they are hugely into Formula One over there.
Yeah,
it means the
looks
world
like
to them.
Over 300,000 people over the weekend to watch the race.
Huge.
That is huge, absolutely huge. And you see there, Verstappen has got the Mexican flag with Perez there, holding it up, lapping it up from the crowd with Perez's dad. And yeah, it's amazing.
That is
amazing
almost
scenes.
as good as a Checo
very
win.
disappointed.
Yeah, he knows now, man. 4 races to go. It is all stacked up against him. And Max was down in 3rd place. You know, it was their job to keep him behind.
Yeah.
I tell you something though, that is almost as good as a Checo win. As far as the Mexicans are concerned, they're going to look at that and go, Checo's on the podium, Max and Checo's team, the Mexican team, Red Bull, as they'll feel, a one step closer to the all-important title.
They're weighing, as we spoke about that earlier on, about that they have to weigh at the end of the race. Verstappen getting a bit
and
of
here
water,
come the
taking on
fans.
some water.
Now you watch this podium. That is going to become like a festival scene down there. Shame to see actually, is the podium not going to be up on the balcony? There's usually a big, and then they've got a DJ that plays immediately after the podium.
Lewis Hamilton giving a post-race interview.
Yeah, and you can see in his eyes.
He can hardly hear anything.
He's smiling a
because
little.
the fans are going so mad.
You can see in his eyes there, he looks a little disappointed. He looks a little beaten.
Always, you know what? There's been rumours that he's a guy that's a bit up himself. He's doing impressions sometimes given of him.
Yeah, a lot of
But
people
I can
say.
tell you from my friend that, as I said, who's works at Williams, and also when I went to the races and that, and I was asking people, they're like, this misconception of him.
Totally.
They go, he's one of the coolest guys on the circuit.
Yeah.
They said to me that there are some people on that circuit, they're like, bloody hell, Robbie, they're up their own arse. But they go, Lewis Hamilton, always got time for people, always talks to people, such a cool guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a believer in Lewis, I have to say. And, he gets a lot of stick.
There is that misconception of him, isn't there? I've never met him, but that is the case.
The biggest misconception, a lot of people, I think in this country, we have a problem with people rising and becoming great. We always want to then pull them down.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know something, he gets a lot of stick about his taxes, and my missus brought it up yesterday, actually. We went for a little evening swim, like you do, and she said, a lot of people say he's a tax dodger. Why is that?
Because he lives in Monaco.
Because he moved to Monaco. And what was interesting is, they actually then published the amount of tax that he pays in the UK. And he was something like the 4th highest taxpayer in the UK a couple of years ago, because he chooses to still pay parts of his, I think some of his endorsements or whatever are registered in the UK. And so I just look and go...
Plus as well, all them drivers live in Monaco.
Yeah, of course they are. And that's, Sir Jackie Stewart, the Scots still claim him, we still claim him, and he lived in Switzerland his entire career.
Yeah.
It's just the home of Formula One. That's where they're all based over there. Max Verstappen lives in Monaco. They're all over there.
I mean, I guess, listen, why wouldn't they? Right?
Totally.
I mean, remember, they're travelling for nearly all of the year anyway, so it ain't like they're going to be saying,
Lewis said famously...
Plus, I've been to Monaco. It's a very nice place. I wouldn't mind living there myself.
Agreed. He said famously, actually, did Lewis, he's got that big fancy house in Monaco. He said, this was before COVID, he spends less than 80 nights at home a year. 80.
Always on the road.
Always on the road, constantly moving around.
Jay Gooner Fan TV says, congrats to Max, being a Red Bull fan since the Webber days.
Oh, come on.
Can F1 sack drivers? Because I feel reserve drivers will be better than the idiot Stroll and Mazepan.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, they can be dropped mid-season. It can happen. It rarely doesn't, because these guys are coming with endorsements and sponsorships and all of that, and simply the funding, I'm sure, would be withdrawn. But, I'm with you. I'd like to see him go.
Lewis is very humble, says Gental, 1969. Ansu says, congratulations going out to Verstappen.
I love all this chat, and I get comments like this on our videos as well. Stimson122 says, come on, Don, we know you already own a mansion and a yacht in Monaco.
I wish. DJ Ashby says, big up Don, Robbie and Matt, love the watch along. You need to do more of these live watch alongs.
Come on.
I just saw that one about the yacht. Hamilton in the mud, says Axis fan. I think that's a bit harsh. Percentage of Hamilton's chances of winning the title, said Liam. You said about 65%. I'm saying about 10%. I think it's done.
Yeah, totally. We're just going to see this podium coming through.
By the way, Football Power said I've just subscribed to Matt's channel.
Oh, big up! Thank you.
And if they want to subscribe, where do they go?
Yeah, you're going to find us at Off Circuit F1. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram, but YouTube. That's a big help for us. We are tiny little channel at the moment.
But a great channel.
Every subscription helps us. Big ups.
Hamilton has lost the championship, says Malcolm. Francesco says, I think Verstappen has won this. King says, Hamilton is finished, sadly, and Max owns him. They're so harsh, aren't they? So harsh.
So harsh.
Super Max is brilliant, says Oliver Wilson. He is brilliant.
Yeah, he really
good
is.
Fun stream, Don Robbie says meh. And
here come the fans. Look at this now. They charge.
Here come the fans, yeah.
Charging towards the podium. And this is what F1 have got to do more of. Darts had a revolution years ago of taking it from a stiff sport into a sport of the people and really gain traction. The reason the Americans have bought into this sport and took Bernie Ecclestone out for billions and billions of pounds is they feel like more and more people need to get into this sport. And look at it, as exciting as that is now, we're seeing a highlight of the lights out going into the first corner, the drama, the smoke, Max taking the lead of the Grand Prix, Bottas spinning out, Danny Rick losing his nose. Drama everywhere you look, and these guys throwing cars around the track.
It was a great race. But Max Verstappen is the winner. We're just waiting for them to go up onto the podium and get the obligatory champagne.
Champagne. We're going to see it all. It's a great podium, this one as well. Some of them
That's why I'm waiting for this podium. I'm waiting to see this podium.
It's so good. It really is. Bam, look at that crowd.
Nicholas says, special mention to Lando Norris. Brilliant first stint from P18 to P10.
Yeah, absolutely. Just snuck into the points. Good work
Sean,
from
however,
him.
said it was a dead race after the first lap. Oh my God. Apex says the last race had live audiences of 400,000 people, more than football, more than boxing.
Oh, more than 10 football matches. Yeah, it's huge, the crowds that they attract to these things. And it is a really fun weekend away. If you get the opportunity to go to a Grand Prix in any city, whether it's Silverstone or anywhere, it's like going to a festival. Camp for the weekend, take it all in. And right now you're going to see some major DJ. Martin Garrix did it in 2019. You're going to see a big old party going on.
Christian Horner might go out and play 2 tunes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our Football Power says Hamilton's been the best driver in my lifetime. Gasly is underrated, says Feroz.
Underrated, Feroz, but he didn't do it at Red Bull. So I think he gets a bit of criticism because of his time there. Oh, it's Kygo today.
Right, so Sergio Perez there, waiting. Is he stepping up
And
first
here
up onto
we
the
go.
podium?
And the crowd will be going absolutely
They'll be going
wild.
crazy.
Good for him
So
as well.
Sergio Perez. Where's this thing you told me about podium lifted up and all that?
Yes.
Looks like they've abandoned that.
No,
Pretty
they
soon.
haven't.
All right, so there's Perez. Got his Mexican
It
flag
is
with him.
the maddest podium, Robbie, on the calendar. Absolutely bonkers.
Now up goes Lewis Hamilton.
Sir Lewis Hamilton, let's
Sir
go.
Louis.
Hasn't happened yet, the knighthood, has it? It's been announced, but he's. I don't think he's
So
bent the
Lewis
knee
Hamilton
yet.
up there.
And here comes. Where's Max? Can you see him on the left-hand side? No, you can't.
And then Max V about to step up.
Big moment. Big moment. Big podium. Oh. Here comes the smoke, and here he comes with his car.
Oh yeah,
Look
that's
at that.
pretty cool.
Looking like a bit of a dick, actually, with his foot up on the tyre, but we'll let him off. Bless him. Lewis just drips
Hey, I
in
like that.
swagger
That is
and
pretty
cool.
cool.
He's not got the same amount of cool, but certainly
But he has
talent.
won the race.
And look, his car's up there on the podium.
That's cool. I like that. So the winner of the race is Max Verstappen. They will play. They play the Dutch.
Yeah, so play the Dutch anthem, then the Austrian anthem for Red Bull, and then.
Even though the team's based over in Milton Keynes.
Yeah, exactly right. You can see him from your gaff, you were saying,
I can.
can't you?
Yeah, I can. I've seen.
We need to try and get a little tour around their factory.
I'm going to have a word with them, man.
Yeah, needs to happen.
It's Christian Horner.
Yeah, wow.
And it is a big win for Max Verstappen. They'll do all the anthems, etc., etc., etc. But I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, you enjoyed it.
I have. This has been our first one on
I'm
the
guessing
channel.
that we're doing another one next week.
We're doing
again.
another one next week. We're going to be doing the Brazilian Grand Prix, which now moves into massive importance.
Huge.
For Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been fantastic.
It's a shame that actually Formula One clashes so much with football, with it being 2 o'clock on a Sunday usually. So we need to take advantage of these South American late night races.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. It was a really enjoyable race. It's great to get your knowledge.
Well, we just have a bit of fun, don't we?
Yeah, but no, your knowledge is brilliant. I think everybody in the chat really appreciated it. So that was fantastic. Couple more super chats here. Jay Gooner Fan TV, thank you for all your super chats, mate. I really appreciate
come on,
it.
man.
He says, being part British, not a big fan of Lewis since he left McLaren when he won in 08. Will Tsunoda be the first Asian champ? And please visit Australia soon, Don. I'd love to go back to Australia.
Maybe we do a Australian F1 next year.
Australia F1
Should
in
we get
Melbourne.
out there?
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be great. I think Lewis was right when he left McLaren now, and it was a good decision.
Bang on.
When you consider how many races.
And everyone at the time said, don't do it. Why would you do it?
And,
he nailed it.
But
Tsunoda, I'm a big fan of Yuki Tsunoda. I'm glad that they've given him time. I think rookies should always be given at least 2 years. I think he's good enough to become a champion eventually. He just needs to keep his head, and next year he's going to have to start putting in a few more top performances.
Here's one of my favourite comments of the day as Max Verstappen holds up the trophy. It's from Shrey. He says, Post Malone knows his shit.
I be popping hose and popping pillies, man. I do feel like a rock star.
Mr. Father says, lovely jubbly day to be a Ferrari fan.
Yeah.
18 points haul and McLaren scores 1 point.
Huge.
Wonderful, he says. So a huge day for Ferrari. Of course, you know, there are some, I've heard this argument before. What do you think of this? That the teams like Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, it's more important for them to win the team thing than the actual like driver thing. I can't believe that, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah, so from a team point of view, they pay out the bonuses and things based on a team bringing home the championships. That's what they're bothered about. Whereas the individual drivers' championship, which is what the public are bothered about, is only for the driver. So yeah, I think Mercedes always had a rule that up until Mercedes are crowned champions, we race together, it's team orders, you fucking listen to us. And then after that, go ahead, guys. We're already champions. You do what you need to do at the end of the season. It does, at the moment anyway, we're still looking like Mercedes are on track to win the championship still this year, constructors, whereas Max might go ahead and win. But today, big points haul for Red Bull. It's, you know, maybe they could upset. And look at that, the green, red and white.
Of Mexico.
All over.
Champagne is flowing. Verstappen drinking some champagne there. Perez drinking a bit of champagne. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. The winner of the race is Max Verstappen. Let me just see if I can get the order of the race so I can give you the full rundown of what has happened today. But it has been Max Verstappen who has won the race. Verstappen in first place, Hamilton in second, Perez in the other Red Bull in third, Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri, which incidentally is a sister car to Red Bull, just shows you how strong they were.
Amazing.
On the track. He came in fourth place, Charles Leclerc in fifth, Sainz as well in sixth, the two Ferraris. Vettel in the Aston Martin finished in seventh.
Good result.
Raikkonen, lost it there. Raikkonen coming in eighth place in the Alfa Romeo. Alonso in the Alpine in ninth. Norris in 10th in the McLaren. Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo in 11th. Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren in 12th. Ocon in the other Alpine finishing in 13th. Matt's friend Lance Stroll coming in 14th in the Aston Martin. Bottas finished 15th when he started on pole position. Of course, he got hit in the first lap. He finished 15th. George Russell in the Williams in 16th, who will be taking over from Bottas. Latifi in the Williams 17th. And another big friend of Matt's, his favourite driver of all time, Mazepin, finished last in the Haas.
Last and always
Schumacher and Tsunoda, both of them crashed out of the race. That is it. The winner of the Mexico Grand Prix is Max Verstappen. So congratulations going out to him. And he leads the championship. Let me just take you through the championship. In first place now on 25 points is Max Verstappen. In second place is Hamilton. All right, sorry.
This is just giving you the points, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, that's just giving you the points. Just giving you the points.
So I believe now, but it's off the top of my head, he was, so it's a 7-point swing without the fastest lap. So Max is going to be taking a 19-point lead going into the next race. 9
wins now for Max Verstappen.
Yeah, huge.
5 wins for Lewis Hamilton, so 4 more wins than him. But massive. He's in for, just to run through, I'll run through the top 10.
Yeah, sure.
In 10th place at the moment is Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
Gasly in 9th, Ricciardo in 8th, Carlos Sainz in 7th, Charles Leclerc 6th, Lando Norris in 5th, Sergio Perez in 4th, Valtteri Bottas in 3rd, Lewis Hamilton in 2nd place, and with 9 wins this season, he's been the dominant force. Max Verstappen, Kuhn, you know it. And in the constructors, Mercedes currently winning over Red Bull, with Ferrari in 3rd, McLaren in fourth and Alpine in
So Ferrari have taken third in the championship today.
Yep, they moved up to third in the championship.
Wow, big news.
So listen, I want to thank you all for watching the watch along today. Our first ever F1 watch along here on the Don Robbie channel. Big up Matt. Matt, where can they find you?
Guys, you're going to find us and you're going to find me and Robbie later tonight with our post-race analysis at Off Circuit F1. We'd love you to subscribe on YouTube. Find us on Instagram. I'm always chatting to people in the DMs as well. Robbie, thanks so much for giving F1 airtime on Don Robbie.
Brilliant.
It's been great.
I really enjoyed it. It's been brilliant. Been a long day for me because we had the football. I've done 3 watch-alongs now.
Yeah, jeepers.
Well, I was at the game, Arsenal game, then I did the watch-along. That was a great game as well.
Yeah, great.
Liverpool versus West Ham. And then, of course, the F1. It's been absolutely brilliant. Really, really enjoyed it. Thank you to you guys. First time we've done it on the channel. Unbelievable response. Thank you very much for that. We'll be back again with it next week. And as Matt said, you can find me on his channel now.
Come on.
We're going to be doing a little review of what went on in the race. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Come on.